then they had to find another kid to do that
How did you leave? Was it...
I had run away so many times.
just... Okay, so you had to run away.
I ran away so many times. Police brought me back. Like there was
because you were underage. How do the police find you, or do they report you missing? Is that
they did? So the kid that I wanted to marry, he was from Idaho. We ran across state lines together. Oh. They ended up getting a restraining order on him, which I didn't even know this whole story till after I left and he told me. But
he was also underage.
We were both underage. Okay. Both crossed state lines, but then the police. It was so weird because I remember telling the police, like, I am in a, like, I don't think I called it a cult, but I'm like, my parents are polygamists. They're trying to make me marry this person, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, look, when you're 18, you can, they basically gave me no help.
They weren't like, here, you could go call CPS. Like, they don't give you any information of how to help.
They didn't do anything. And that's why I was like,
that's awful.
Yeah. Utah, and maybe they're evolving now, but at the time there was a similar story to one of Daniel's daughters. He was abusing her so bad, and she went to the police, and there was a whole police report where she had bruises all over her body, but then they sent her back to a home where he would have access to her. And I believe she told them if she was sent back, she would commit. Anyways, she ended up committing suicide because of it. So I'm hoping that these stories and the things that have happened are changing the laws.
I don't know, because within the Mormon church, I mean, it's no different when, these children that are getting sexually abused by a parent or by a family member, and the kid will tell their bishop, and the bishop, there's this phone number that you're supposed to call for, child abuse, like a line for child abuse, and that's in the bishop's manual. And it is the legal system. It's the McConkey legal team. Yeah. And they basically tell you what state you're in, and if you legally have to report it to the authorities or not. What? And Utah is one of those that you do not have to report
abuse in the home.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. And then yeah.
That is so messed up. What's the point of a person even going to them then? They're not going to help.
And that's the whole problem. Yeah. That's the whole issue. And one of my very close friends, same thing happened to her, and she was molested for a lot of years by her cousin, and nobody would believe her. Mm-hmm. And the bishop, I think finally one of her family members, I don't know if it was her mom or dad, and told the bishop, and the bishop was like, well, we'll take care of it. Like, basically have him go through the repentance process. Yeah. Well, I mean, and then they made sure he didn't have access to her. But at the same time, that he got away with it. He didn't have to go to jail. And do we really think that he stopped?
Right. Like, and usually there's not just one victim.
They don't stop.
Right.
It just blows me away how there's no help for these kids.
Yeah, and how prevalent it is, and why. That's why even with the order of in order to have so many pedophiles, you have to have a lot of enablers. So these people that are staying and okay with it, they're enabling the abuse to continue to happen. And I think the ones that leave are the ones that are like, I just can't stand to be around this or watch this anymore. I think there are those few that are there thinking they can help from within. I have heard members reach out and be like, I'm staying because I'm trying to help from within. I don't think you can help that much when you're also drowning. If you're drowning, trying to help other people from drowning, you're drowning together.
Yeah, no. And that the therapist, Ashley that came on, she said that especially women, especially within the Mormon church, which sounds like it's kind of what was going on with your mom, is that it's a survival technique for them, and that they will join the side of the oppressor. Yeah. And so then they start to become oppressors as well, because it's a way for them to survive in a system. Right. Because otherwise you're not able to survive it. So for your mom able to survive that, stay in a marriage, all of those things, she has to join the side of the oppressors.
Right. It's such a hard conversation to have, though, because there's so many times where I'm like, well, there's so many good people in the order. Some of the best people I've ever met were in the order. But then when I really look at it for the bigger picture, a lot of those good people were silently standing by.
Yeah.
Like, how good can you be when you're watching abuse happen over and over and over and saying, well, God will figure it out, you know?
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard. I've shifted in the past year because my mom, we actually got in an argument. This was like a year ago. We got in an argument on the phone because she was saying that she doesn't support any of the abuse and any of the pedophilia and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, do you pay 10%? Do you put your money into their bank, into their hands, or the hands of the pedophiles?
It sounds like you're paying more than 10%. You
Right,
were like
you're giving your all.
You're giving 100%, and then you only get to use what they approve.
Right. So really,
So could
it's
you
like,
even take a vacation or anything?
we did do some vacations, but it really was when because my dad was the one that had more control and power over the money, and then if we did a vacation with him, but it was not very often. But yeah, as a woman, I think if you're a numbered man, which is like a higher status man, you have more access to your money. If you're a wife, a favorite wife, you have more access. Then if you're a less favorite, you have, that the level goes down and down and down. And then a kid is like, you're lucky if you get anything, you know?
So same thing is basically all of that money that even you earned as a child, that all is essentially kind of in your dad's pot.
Yeah. So I actually didn't know this because they're so secretive about it. I thought I had more control over my account than I did, but I noticed that every year my account never went past 2,000. Like, it was like, no matter how much I worked, no matter how much I saved, my account was at that 2,000 mark. And then I was told that my surplus was going into my back account. And I was like, well, where's my back account? When I was trying to leave and people saw that I was running away.
Is a back account like supposed to be a savings account?
That's what they tried to make it sound like. But come to find out, it was my dad's account.
Oh.
And it was CO36 was like the family's account that was his account.
Because you're number 36, right?
His number is 36.
His number is 36.
Yeah, because he's a numbered man. And when you get that membership of like it's almost like your ticket to heaven. He got his, which was 36.
Which is a good number, right?
Yeah, I think the lower the number, they like kind of brag about. The lower the number, the higher.
I remember
the status.
seeing one of your TikToks or something, and it was that you would see a car drive by and they would have a number, and you were like, oh, that's they're putting their order number, or they're all wearing T-shirts that all have the number on it.
Yeah, we could talk about if you haven't heard of the numbering system, it's kind of confusing because in the early days of the order, they were literally just numbering who joined. So like, oh, you're the third person to join. Okay, so and it was weird. They would only number the men because sexist. Mm-hmm. And then when Paul became the leader, he realized how many people wanted to be numbered and how much power he had by withholding a number. Like, oh, we're gonna pray about what number you're gonna get. Like he manipulated them with this number, which is nothing, but to a member, it's everything. It's like your membership. Like they will put that number. When my dad dies, he's gonna have 36 on his gravestone. Okay. And the women started to talk about how they wanted to have a number too. So like the first wife would have 36.1 on her gravestone because she's the first wife, and my mom would have 36.2 because she's the second. But yeah, we would run around with shirts that said "I heart 36." Like that's how cuckoo we were for the number. So yeah, when you see in Utah, if you see something that says "I heart 96," I can tell you what family they're in, which exact family in the order.
That is wild to me. Wild.
It's like branding yourself. It's so weird.
And so is that why they call it the order? Like it's because you're kind of in order?
I've got that question before. It makes so much sense.
It does make sense, like why they would call it that.
United Order is where order members and the term the order comes from. And what I was taught was that like the United Order is like where the place on earth where we can live God's laws. And the FLDS has a higher version of their church called the United Order, but we're just the order. But yeah, same thing, same concept.
It's all very similar. So when you ran away, the cops find you. Do they bring you back in a cop car, or how does that work?
Well, the cops were just at my house when I got there, so they didn't grab me, bring me back. The cops basically told me, "Don't you leave again," kind of a thing.
At your house, so because you were in Idaho, and they found you in Idaho.
I was found in Idaho, and then basically told that I needed to be back by a specific time. He was too. So we were both told.
So the cops find you, and they're like, "You need to be home by such and such time."
it was a weird situation where we were minors hiding out in someone's home.
Okay.
And then the person got called, the home that we were in.
Oh, so
and
they were going to
be threatened, right? So then we as minors had nowhere else to go. So it was a situation where, okay, well, now we're basically fucked. So having to be forced back, and then having cops meeting me at the door being like, well, this is the situation that you put yourself in. This is the situation that the boy that you ran away with is in. Like, he was fear-mongering me to never leave again. I'm telling him the situation.
You're like, I am in a polygamous cult. They're trying to force me to marry my cousin. I don't want to.
Literally, it was like, bop, 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 bop. You're a kid.
What, 16, 17?
I was 15 at this time.
15.
I was so young.
And also, that's not even legal.
Yeah, they didn't care.
On the cousin side and on the side where you're not legal age, because I'm pretty sure it's 16.
Yeah, I think that I think most of the cops that I talked to just thought I was a lying teenager. And I think my parents made it sound like that as well.
It's like 2019 is when they changed it from that your parent could sign off if you were 14. And then 2019, it changed, you had to be 16.
Whoa.
So you could be 14 and so my dad married a 13-year-old.
Oh my
when he was 19, but still, I mean, they didn't have any kids. They didn't even last a year, but still at the same time, I'm like, 13? I have a 13-year-old boy. He's a child.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't even, we don't talk about it. It's not allowed to be talked about, but it's still like gross.
Yeah. It's like, why do we have to make laws to get you guys to get away from little kids? Why does that even have to be a law? But I also think that it's weird that it's even a thing that you can sign off for your teenager to be married.
Well, and then here's the other thing is they are also signing over guardianship to your new husband.
Yeah.
So if your husband is over 18, well, because did you say he was only a year older than you, your cousin?
Yeah, but
so
the reason why it was the whole story is that the one I was running away with was the wrong one.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm confusing you. The one I was with was the one that I was not supposed to be with.
So the cousin that you were supposed to marry,
he was still young. It wasn't my time to get married at that
18
time.
yet.
Yeah. But I was going with the wrong choice.
Okay.
So that's why they got a restraining order on that one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's like
the manipulation is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so you basically are forced back. So, I mean, how is your parents treating you now? Like, you got back, did you get slapped? Did you get like
when I came back from running away?
Yeah,
that was such a wild experience. I remember, this is bringing back so many memories. I go to my room and all of my stuff is gone. And I think they even painted the wall.
What?
And there was like my
long
brother's
were you
stuff
gone?
in there. I feel like I was only gone for a weekend.
What?
It was like
they
fast.
were quick.
Yeah.
No, they're like, we're going to teach this girl a lesson.
Yep.
We're going to erase her.
Yeah. And I remember my dad interrogated me. So I was sitting in that room and he wouldn't let me leave the room until I told him who I ran away with. He already knew. I didn't know this though. He already knew. Sorry, I feel like I'm telling you things in the context of now and then, and it's confusing you.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So I follow, because basically you had told your dad that's who you wanted to marry too. And he's like, no, you made the wrong choice, right? Like, he had already told you that. And now you're running away with this guy.
Yeah, and I wouldn't tell him I was with that boy.
Oh, you never told him?
I was so scared to tell him.
But he knew.
Yeah, he was just trying to make me be honest and come clean with him, and he like he was in front of the door. I remember it was like hours. He's like, just tell me, and it was the sun was up and then the sun was down, and I was just sitting on the ground in that room that they had painted that is now my brother's room. Then they show me my new room. It was in the basement. You know those unfinished basements?
Yeah.
You like buy a home with an unfinished basement. It was this tiny little room with concrete walls. They had put my bed in there and my dresser in there. My dresser, you could open it and it would hit into the bed. That's how small the room was. There was no door.
Window?
No window. They expected me to sleep in that because I ran away.
Oh,
No.
They were putting you in a prison cell.
Yeah, they were so mad at me.
Yeah.
And it's funny that they thought that would make me want to stay more.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
You guys didn't think this all the way through.
Right.
Yeah,
I think that they were just so angry that they were like, well, we're going to teach her. And it's like, well, you're just driving me out, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was so wild.
So then you never gave up his name?
I can't remember if he told me that he knew or if he told me that they told him. but I don't remember telling him. I remember feeling like I had to come clean because he already knew. But yeah, this was such a long time ago. Yeah. And then
what?
I don't remember ever seeing him again.
Really?
They got the restraining order. I still am foggy on what happened because he ended up leaving, and I remember feeling like he left me. Like I felt like abandoned by my first kiss. Like it was like I was in love with this boy, and then this whole thing happened, and I never really saw him again. And then he left, and then he was like inaccessible. It was such a weird experience.
So did he have to go back to Idaho or what?
I think he shortly after, because I didn't know the back side of things was that my dad got a restraining order on him, because my dad had a higher standing than his dad. There was like a push to get his son out of.
And that's why you couldn't marry him, because women cannot marry
down
below their number, and your number was higher than his family's. Is that how that would work?
Well,
then?
yeah, his dad's number was 62, but his dad was not Kingston.
Oh.
So because my dad was Kingston, I was going to have to either marry within that same bloodline or marry into the higher ups, which was the leader or his brothers, families.
But you are also part of the leader's bloodline, right?
The leader's half brothers, my dad.
Okay.
So I would potentially be marrying up if I married who they wanted because it was the leader's full brother's kid. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's still
gross.
pretty connected as far as relation, isn't it?
I think he is related to the leader's first wife, but he's not related to the leader. So if you were actually watching things, because I feel like so many people in the order are like so disassociating, like that you have to be so numb to live that life and see all the abuse happening in front of you. I think so many of them are just like have blinders on and they're just like in survival mode. But if you actually were like looking at what was happening, it was so obvious that all of this guy's kids, so number 62, so the guy that I was with, his dad was number 62. All of his kids, the daughters were getting married really young into the Kingston family. The boys were having a really hard time getting married, and a lot of them were just getting pushed out. And that's what happened with the guy this guy. He gets pushed out. I didn't know that he got pushed out till later on, but if you watch the pattern, there was also a family that was very, very like seemed to be wealthy. They had this whole lane named after their last name, and all the like wives were in new build nice homes. And it's like, how are they so wealthy when they're not Kingston enough to be that wealthy or to have that much access to their money? Then you see all the daughters one by one marrying a specific man in the leadership's family that's supposedly going to be the next leader. Every single one. Either that one or the other one that was like, because there's the rumor is that there's gonna be 3 leaders in the next, I guess, session or whatever. But
what? Oh, really? Like, okay, because right now there's only one.
Right.
So this is only, it's Paul is a leader now, and so before that it was Paul's dad was the leader.
Ortel.
So, and that's it. That's the only 2 leaders.
No, there was 3.
There was another one?
Yeah, so brother Eldon is the starter.
The starter, okay.
And he was the one that was just numbering them because he was counting the ones that were joining.
Okay. And that, there was no incest going on at that point in time, right?
But it literally only took 1 generation to start incest because Ortel's over there like, Kate, now time to be with my niece.
I wonder why. Was it just because he was like, I want to be with my niece? Or like,
I wonder
what, just taking the lens off and looking at it and thinking like, what made this man decide, okay, I am now going to not just marry my niece. He married a couple of his sisters, right?
Yeah, I don't understand because I obviously, like, I didn't meet these people. They died before I was born. But when I started doing more research into the order history, the thing that I keep hearing is that Eldon was a very charismatic guy. People really loved to be around him, but he died in his 30s of, I think, a preventable thing because they didn't believe in the doctors and they thought that whatever. That's a story for another day. So then his brother gets the leadership. But well,
yeah, you can't go to doctors because if you go to doctors, you can't answer all of that information.
Well, he died of penile cancer.
Oh, I feel like that's karma.
Yeah,
that's karma.
I know. And he was literally in his 30s, died of penile cancer, and they thought that he was going to come back. They thought that he was going to be resurrected. So they kept his body on ice in a tub for 3 days.
Stop it.
Yep.
Stop
I would kill to be able to be a fly on the wall of when they're like, guys, I think he's not coming back.
Yeah, at what point do you make that decision where you're like, the ice keeps melting? Like, I mean,
like,
and who's got that job where they got to come in and keep restocking that ice
Right.
with this dead man in the bathtub?
They're like, any second now.
This
he's
is
gonna be-
insane.
Yeah, so wild. But then that story alone.
But same thing. How are people able to watch this and think this is normal? Like, we're going to continue to put ice in this bathtub. Nobody thinks we need to like call a morgue or anything.
I guess they looked at it as like, well, Christ was resurrected and we believe that. So it's the same thing in their eyes. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So they're waiting the 3 days. It doesn't happen. And they're sitting there like counting down. They're like, okay, guys.
It's time to call it quits. And maybe at the time it wasn't that big of a deal to have a body hanging out in your house. But nowadays, if you're caught doing that, you're going to get investigated.
I think it's got to be illegal, right? I mean, it's got to be.
Yeah. But yeah, so the reason why I think it doesn't make sense that Eldon was this amazing person, because if he was, why was his brother Ortel so messed up? And not just his brother, his other brother Merlin, who was supposed to be the next leader after Ortel died. Merlin was over there marrying his sisters and making his kids marry each other to the point where they were having so many issues.
Wait, his own kids, he made his own children marry each other?
He would be like, this kid from this wife, I want you to marry this kid from this wife. So it would be half siblings, but then he did not believe in blood testing. This is how we know there's blood testing, because he believed that God was directing him to tell his kids to marry each other. So he's like, if there's inbreeding or bad things, it's because Heavenly Father wants it to happen. So then there was happening way more. Kids were dying younger. There was a lot of is that what's called, little people? I think every single one of the sisters he married had at least one child that was a dwarf. Is that the correct term?
I don't know if it's politically correct. I think you are supposed to say little people now.
Little people.
I think
okay.
so. Yeah.
Okay, edit that out.
Yeah.
I know I've been corrected so many times. The last one was because I had
You're like,
someone
listen,
on.
I did not live in the world. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
I was around people saying the N-word who still say it, okay? My dad still says it.
Yeah, but you're not racist.
Yeah, I'm not racist, you guys. I swear.
So what ended up happening? How many times did you run away?
I don't even remember how many times.
That many?
There was so many times.
You just keep running away. They keep reporting you missing.
And I was always the problem. It was always Amanda's just being defiant.
You will not marry your cousin. You are a problem. You do not want to be a polygamist, and you don't want to, live incest.
Yeah, it was such a. I remember my mom, like the last year I was there, I had snuck off from the young women's classes that they had.
Oh, they call them the same as the Mormon church. It is, everything is the same.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was young women's, young men. Yeah, same thing. But they would separate us, and then they would get us prepped for marriage over here, and they're prepping them how to be good husbands over here.
That's essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're teaching us all the things, how to cook, how to sew, how to do all of the little homemaker things.
Yep.
But we did once a month everybody goes together, the boys and the girls, once a month.
I feel like we had where you could commingle, and then they'd separate it again.
Yeah, but it's no different than the same thing like when you go to church on Sundays. Like, everyone's together during sacrament meeting, but like then you're still separated. So like, even we go to Relief Society, the women, so that we can learn how to be better wives, right? Which is all part of brainwashing. It's just, and then the men go to priesthood and they learn how to, I don't know,
be a man of the house.
Probably how to just manipulate the hell out of their wives. Yeah. Probably, like, honestly.
I know. I would love to see what they're teaching those men. Actually, I wonder if you could input this recording. It's so eerie. I could give it to you. One of the men's meetings, I got a little snippet of the voice someone recorded while they were in the men's meeting, and what the leader was telling them was a specific ways to have a higher likelihood of getting your wife pregnant with a daughter.
Oh, I did. I saw that on your YouTube. Yeah, you had a little, and he was talking about the different, like the time of the month to be with your wife. And then was there a certain position?
I'm not sure. I know that timing was a big thing because the male sperm is faster than the female sperm, right?
Yeah.
So if you time it right, you can be more likely to have a girl.
Because is what you said in your video was because they are running out of women because these men obviously like the ratio's off because you got
Right.
one man married to
27,
3 women.
right. Like the leader has 27.
And then when you have the 27, it really throws off.
Yeah. But then on top of that, you have these men that can't even get them pregnant. So it's like, hey, we need as many women as possible, the ones that can get their wives pregnant.
And they're to the point where they're using somebody that is mentally retarded, that they are.
When that happened, a lot of people were outraged to imagine seeing this girl who has a mentality of an 8-year-old brain and she's pregnant and she didn't understand what was happening. So there was some like traumatizing things, like she was trying to get the baby out. There was, and she obviously couldn't take care. Like, I don't know if they thought this through.
Also, just think about childbirth. How is this woman supposed to even understand what she's supposed to do or what's happening to her body? I just can't even. Do you know? Did you see this afterwards? Like, did you see it?
I think that she was just treated so bad. Like the order, when you have a place where they don't even believe in depression, they don't believe in mental health, they don't believe in, like, obviously they're not going to take care of someone who's mentally disabled. They don't care. So sadly, there was a lot of stories of when someone was too difficult, they would just lock them in a room and then deal with them later. Feed them food, close the door. They just don't want to deal with it. It is like back in the olden days, what they did when they just didn't know what to do or wouldn't acknowledge something was wrong, you know? So it is
wild.
Yeah, so wild. But yeah, back to the
so you run away and you multiple times. And so what do you do at this point? Because you've also kissed a boy. So are you now like
tainted goods?
Yeah, like can you even get married at this point?
Of course, because I was Kingston. Then
right.
No matter what, I'm going to have
And you actually weren't inbred. And so you have
the womb that they want, I guess.
100%.
But of course, there's still the guilt and the shame. Running away with a boy, like that's such a no-no.
But I don't understand if you're not inbred, why they then want to marry you to your cousin. So now they're going to now make you inbred. It makes no sense because now you're going to have complications within your pregnancy, I would guess, or within the babies being born.
These are thoughts that they just don't have there. Because I remember an order member telling me that the inbreeding and incest is a lie that the government tells us. It's not even. When he was saying that, I was like, what are you saying right now? Like, there's obvious, even in the order, there's obvious deformities happening.
Yeah, you're like, she's missing an ear.
Right.
Yeah.
And so... But I think it's because, and that's why I keep going back to narcissism. If you're a narcissist, you're like, well, my genes are the best genes, so we need to make sure everybody has them because I'm the best. So it's like that weird, you know, the Keith Raniere, how he branded his followers. This is another cult. It's so interesting.
Also polygamist or no?
No, it was Nexium. It was actually like a self-help. It was an interesting one. I met the girl from it, and she had such an amazing story. But he was obsessed with branding his initials on his members, and I think that that's similar.
Like cattle,
right? I think that the inbreeding, or not the inbreeding, the direct descendant of Christ, bloodline, blue blood, it's all narcissism. I have the best blood, and we need to make sure I have them. And that's why Paul, the leader, has the most kids. He has over 300 kids. It's an ego thing. Like, if it weren't for me, I wouldn't have, all of you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. I think that's what it is.
How do you even have a relationship with your father? Like, there's got to be, these kids have got to have some sort of psychological damage where there is no way you can have a connection. Even the girls having daddy issues, things like that. Like, there's got to be so many problems.
Only relationship I ever saw with a child and their father was the child trying so hard to please him and doing anything that they could to get daddy's love. It was like very conditional love. Like, what did you do for me? Okay, here's a little bit of that. And they would be fighting for that, the favorite spot.
And then there's Amanda. You're like, hell no.
Yeah, I mean, I did try when I was younger. I remember being like, oh, dad's favorite color is green, so I'm gonna change my favorite color to green so that he'll like me more. And then when I got older, I was like, fuck this. It's so stupid.
This is dumb. This is not working.
Because the winner, if you win, guess what your life looks like? My half-sister, who's a polygamist, who is on her 7th kid now with her cousin, who is one of the fifth wife of how many?
And their kids are okay because they've done the blood testing and everything?
I don't know. I don't get to meet them, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. So let's go there. Okay, so you what do you do? Finally age out then at 18? Now you can leave?
It was right before my 18th birthday.
Okay.
This story is wild. I don't know.
Okay.
I know we've been talking for so long, so I'll try to like condense it. Right before my 18th birthday, it was July 25th of 2013, 2013, 12, 13, 12, I think. No, 13, because I got married the year after that. Anyways, so I had gotten a call from my friend, and he was telling me that he wanted to leave the group, and he said that he had $30,000 in his bank and they weren't giving it to him. And I, at the time, was trusted in the bank because I was working at the front desk, and they knew me, and to get into the back, you had to get buzzed back. So you'd be like, hey, can I get in the back? And then they'd push a button to let you go to the back. So he was telling me, he's like, I have $30,000 there. I'm like, how am I supposed to leave? I can't even get my money out. He's freaking out. And we come up with a plan. I feel like it was his idea, but he said it was my idea. But the plan was, since I was trusted, I was going to go in there and start taking pictures of the underage kids working there illegally, because it's child trafficking, right? It's child labor laws are being broken, right?
Okay, yeah.
So he was like, if you take these pictures, well, in my brain, I remember him telling it to me, but he remembers it differently. Anyways,
there is child trafficking going on, though. The fact that they're basically forcing these kids to get married and have sex with these people,
that is trafficking.
That is 100% trafficking.
For sure. But I guess that's the wrong term, right? That's child labor is what I'm talking about.
There's a lot of things going on. So
every single one you can think of, they're doing.
Yes, so child labor. So this is happening. So you're thinking...
Yeah. So we're like, okay, we'll go in there, you'll take pictures of the child labor laws being broken, because we knew they were afraid of that. Because whenever we were working there, if someone from the outside was coming in to fix a copy machine, they'd hide all the kids.
Okay.
So we knew they were aware that they were doing something illegal. So he's like, go in there, take the pictures.
I mean, how young are these kids?
They were so young. Like, sometimes too, people would bring their babies in, and like, honestly, as long as they could work, they were working. You know what I mean? And I was like I said, elementary school. And there was this room that had so many little kids working in it that they decided to put up a sign that said typing class, because I think they thought that it would throw people off. Like, no, it's just typing class. They're all just typing. But really, we were entering check stubs into the computer. I remember, like, here's a check stub, here's another one, here's another one. And then my sister was like changing the passwords over and over so that people couldn't get into their banking system.
So people could also write checks then out of this bank. It wasn't, you didn't have to go in each time and say how much.
Well, it was an order check stub. Sorry, that's order verbiage. They were slips that only work in the order.
Okay.
Yeah, with the little authorization codes.
So you could use them just at order businesses then?
Mm-hmm. Well, it was to draw in and out of the accounts. Yeah.
Okay.
So what's going in, what's going out. And so they'd give us like stacks. Anyway, so kids are in there doing that, and I go in and I take the pictures, and our plan was that this is going to be held as leverage. You give him his money that's his. He has like a statement that says how much money he has. Give him his money that's his, or we're going to go to the police with these pictures. We didn't know what we were going to do with them. We just were hoping that bluff would be enough for them to be like, hey, we'll give you your money.
Right.
So I go in there and I'm taking these pictures, and I guess I was not...
So why was your friend wanting to leave?
He was his dad was one of the most abusive dads in the order.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, there's so many reasons, but I think that was one of the main ones.
He was abused.
Yeah. And so anyway, so I go in there, I'm taking the pictures, and I think that I was too obvious with it, that they started telling people, but I thought I was being discreet. I realized in this moment that this is the last time I'm probably ever going to see any of these people. And one of my best friends was working there. So I ran over to go talk to her one last time. She didn't know it was the last time because I wasn't saying goodbye. I was just like, I just wanted one more moment with her. And I'm talking to her. I think she even had her baby with her. She had like a carriage, or not the carriage, like the car seat. And we're talking back and forth. And I just remember seeing her eyes like widen. And she was looking behind me. And I before I could even turn around, this man comes from behind me and starts attacking me. My phone flies out of my hand. And I'm just like, I was in shock. I was in so much shock. He just did it in front of everyone, grabs the phone, grabs me, and starts pushing me with his hip out the door. Again, in front of I want to say at least 8 people that were working there were watching this happen.
Some children.
Yeah, most of them were children, actually. Pushes me out the door. I remember he said, I'll give your phone to your dad. And then he locked me out. And I was like, what the hell just happened? So I run across the street to where my friend is at. And he starts crying, and he's like, Amanda, you're bleeding. And I was like, what? And I was bleeding from the neck. This motherfucker, coward, Jason Kingston, by the way, it's a police report was made. This is public. He had attacked me from behind, grabbed the phone, pushed me out. He's the leader's brother, did this. In a matter of minutes, so we called the police. We were like, we're calling the police on that. This is fucked up that they just did that. in a matter of minutes, they have their lawyer there. It's an order lawyer, a numbered man. I can see them telling the police that, like showing them how he escorted me out. And I'm over across the street like, that's not true. Like, I got the blood to prove it.
Not looking crazy at all.
I know, I felt so crazy because it felt like seconds. The whole order had this story that Amanda clawed herself in the throat, made a huge scene, and Jason's innocent.
You clawed yourself in.
I clawed myself in the throat, made a big scene, and
that makes sense.
Yeah,
I do that all the time. I just claw myself.
And in my mind, I'm like, why is it easier to believe that I'm this psychopath than the people who have been taking money from you guys your whole life, who have been going to prison too? Like David O. Kingston went to prison, Daniel went to jail, like. But it's easier to believe that I'm crazy because then if you believe that the leadership is fucked, then you have to reconsider everything that you've ever believed in your entire life. Mm-hmm. So I get it now. At the time I was so offended. I'm like, what? Like people that were my friends were saying that I was doing that. I'm like, what? But there was a police officer. There was two police officers, and this is what makes me think that the order pays cops off. First cop happened to be going back to his station when we called. He pulls over. He sees the blood. He's like, I know the Kingstons. I was there when that baby died and they claimed that it fell out of the high chair. I know the Kingstons are dirty people and I believe you. He runs over there trying to get a confession and they're holding the door shut. Like they were acted
holding
so
the door
guilty.
shut?
He didn't know it was on the other side, but he said that he was trying to push the door open. He saw papers flying everywhere. He's telling me this. So he's on my side. He's like, let's take pictures of your bruises. Let's take pictures of your...
As a police officer? They are trying to keep him out?
They were, because technically, we don't want to talk to you till the lawyer's present, and that's why the lawyer showed up so fast. And then another cop pulls up. The other cop asks me to sit in the car with him, which I don't even know if that's legal. I'm 17. You're asking a 17-year-old to pair off with you, and no one else is present. I don't know. It all felt shady, even in the moment. And he's like, so... I don't know if you're going to want to press charges on Jason. Like, it's a lot of work for you. And the worst that he's going to get is like a slap on the wrist and maybe some, what did he say? Community service. And I'm 17, literally just left a cult. I'm like, really? Believing him. So I didn't press charges, but I did want it to be filed on his record. Mm-hmm. But then 2 years later, I got a letter in the mail saying that he tried to get it expunged from his record. But anyways, so wild. I think it should stay on his record forever. I think that he should be in jail right now because he's also, it's not even just what he did to me. He had married my dad's sister when she was 15, and it was his own half-sister, and she died giving birth. And I believe it's because they didn't want to get in trouble for the incest, so they... didn't allow her to get medical care. But that's a story for another day. I have like...
Oh my gosh. Because because she couldn't go into a hospital. That's why these babies are all being born at home. They can't go in.
My mom, 10 kids, all of them at home. All of them, yep. But I mean, there are rare cases where they do go to the hospital, but there's so many times where women and children die because of lack of care. Or like... They're like, well, let's just, kind of like the Eldon in the tub thing. Like, let's just pray about it and God will figure it out. It's like, well, no, we have a matter of like minutes to figure this out now.
Yeah. So why do you think that is? Why do they not believe in medical care?
I think it's a mixture of so many things. I think one, it's money. They don't want to spend money.
Yeah.
Two, I think there have been times where they go in and the kids, because they believe in, a 6-month-old can be obedient, they probably bring kids in for checkups or have brought kids in for checkups and they're bruised. And then I think there's a law if a nurse is suspicious of, right?
Healthcare providers are required by law to report any sort of abuse.
Yeah. So I think there's that. There's that it's cost money, and then there's the incest. So I think that that's why there's now an order doctor that is like the primary doctor for everyone in the order, but he's like prescribing things like comfrey. I don't know if you've heard about how we drink comfrey in the order. It's like poison.
Oh, it's poison?
Comfrey is a leaf that you should not, it should only be topical for wounds. If you eat comfrey, it makes rapid cancer cell growth. And that's why I believe that all the order members are dying of cancer, because they keep drinking comfrey. But they think...
Did you ever drink it?
Yeah, every day. I drink it every day when I was a kid. because they taught us to. And sometimes they would bring it to the school and have us drink it at school. It's like they would blend up the leaf with like water, sometimes garlic or orange juice.
Are you
And
worried that you're going to have any sort of lasting problems from it?
I would hope not, but I also stopped before a lot. I mean, my mom was drinking it. I think my mom, there's a lot of people now who are secretly not drinking it because this knowledge is coming out that if you consume it, and like, look at all the people who died of cancer, you guys. Like the fact that even the leaderships, like Ortel died young, Eldon died young.
How old is Paul?
Paul is, I think he's in his 60s now.
Okay.
Yeah, but I almost feel like he doesn't drink it.
Oh, you think?
I feel like if he were to figure that out, he would be the type of person that wouldn't drink it, but would still encourage.
I'm surprised they don't come up with some sort of law, some religious law.
Like now we don't do it anymore.
Well, or just giving it to the lower numbered, the non-Kingston males.
Well, think of it too. I had this thought of, what if they want the members to die younger because the old members are just dead weight? They can't profit off of them. They're not making them any more children, so gets rid of them quicker.
But I wonder if that's what happened to my friend's husband, that he just like died. It's really weird. I don't know.
Wait, which husband was that?
That was the one that was in that AUD.
Oh, AUB. I don't know if they
yeah.
believe in comfrey, do they?
They don't? I have no
think so.
idea.
I don't think so, because that sounded like something from Eldon's
Okay.
like teachings or whatever. But yeah, so many wild things that we believe in. Do you feel like you're still deconstructing? Because how long have you been out?
Yeah, 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's it's a process, and I think that it's a very long process. And then I would definitely say that forming a new marriage is hard, right? Because we have a Mormon marriage before, and like my current therapist, who I absolutely love, because I've gone through all the therapists before, but they were always Mormon or through LDS family practices. Which, by the way, did you know if you go to the LDS family practice lawyer, the therapist, they have to report everything to your bishop.
Oh my God.
There is no confidentiality
So then they're not
thing
really
at
a therapist.
all. It's insane to me. So they're reporting whatever it is. Yeah, it blows my mind. So it made sense. We did a lot of therapy through that, and it just never worked. But now, anyways, is what this new therapist said, is that he's like, you have to take a sword and just put a knife in it. Like, you have to kill your old marriage, and now you are essentially newlyweds. And so you have to come up with a new system in a way, like what you want, create your own boundaries, whatever that looks like. But the old marriage is dead because neither of you are that person who you married.
And so much of your marriage is defined by the church. Like the church has so much control of it. So even just your gender roles, it's all controlled. How you raise your kids, everything that happens, including just, like, I never went on a girls' trip. I've still never gone on a girls' trip. You're not supposed to do that. What? Well, because you're supposed to be with your husband all the time. You're not supposed to do anything that's not with the family even. Like, you're supposed to, do your date night once a week. Yeah. But that's all it. You don't, there's nothing where it's like, okay, let's do girls' nights or go do girls' trips or anything like that. Like, that's not a thing. Wow. That's so that even so getting used to that, where I'm like, I'm just going to go out with the girls. It was very hard to transition that within our marriage, to just be okay with that and know that just because I'm going to a bar, that doesn't mean something terrible is going to happen, because you're programmed at a very young age that that's when terrible things happen, right? Even though all of these sexual assaults and things that are happening are all happening outside of bars, right? Like, all these things are happening within the church. Yeah. Do you feel like you get, you still have like the paranoia? I feel like the LDS church and the order has the weird paranoia of obviously like guilt and shaming you. And LDS is Latter-day Saints, so they believe in the latter days. Do you ever have paranoia based off of any of that.
Not anymore, just because the more that I research, the more that people reach out to me and share their stories and I hear things, I just know it's not real.
What about like with the bar stories, right?
Yeah.
Do you have paranoia when you're going out of that comfort zone? Because there was so much of my childhood was fear mongering. And so many decisions were based out of fear. And now when I'm making a decision that's out of my comfort zone, my paranoia, I feel like, is so much stronger than the average person. So I don't know if you feel like you have.
I don't.
You
no.
don't? Really?
I don't.
I'm wondering
like,
if it's a mental illness.
This is so fun. I'm having a great time.
Oh, that's good. So
Yeah.
so it almost is like being born again then for you.
Yeah, really.
That's
I mean,
so cool.
Yeah, no, I've never felt like it, but I also didn't grow up in the church, so maybe that's
Right.
different.
So you get to reconnect with yourself.
So I've kind of like resorted back to who I was before I joined the church, but also there's a lot of demons that I have from that earlier life too that I am now having to face because those are now coming up and being uncovered because I became a different person, right? I put on this mask and became this different person for 20 years. And now I've taken off the mask and I'm having to face a lot of the demons that I just kind of covered up.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, and therapy will help you with that too. Like, it feels like an onion. Like you're okay. We're working through this, and now that you work through that, now there's another piece that you have to. It feels exhausting, but there's also I've been out 11 years, and so I'm like still peeling that onion. But I think there was a point where it felt super exhausting and it felt like I just wanted to give up peeling the onion. But there's a point where I reached recently where it's exciting now to keep peeling the onion because it means I get to know another part of myself. Mm-hmm. But it took so long to get here, which was like frustrating. But I think that the more frustrated I was with myself, the longer it was taking. So I think it was partially my fault that it took this long. But it is so interesting to see like the version of yourself that you get to be without those masks, without anything else affecting who Mel is today, right? Mm-hmm. It's wild.
Well, and also like I can be anything I want. Mm-hmm. I get to create whatever I want. And no one's telling me what I can do or say or act or wear my clothes. Like every single thing within the Mormon church is controlled down to your freaking underwear. So, I mean, it is very freeing where I'm like, I love this. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And there's no guilt or shame associated with it anymore.
I love that.
Because I think I wasn't a very good Mormon anyways. I was always like, I was the leader that the girls came to me and they would tell me the things that they were doing with boys. And I was like, you're okay.
You're like, you go, girl.
I was like, I wouldn't not really like that, but I was like, you're okay. Like, because they're worried that they're going to hell. And, and then you worry that they're going to commit suicide. You worried about all this depression that they are experiencing. And I just wanted to assure them, like, you are okay. And also, don't you think that you need to settle for anything less?
Yeah.
Because now you think that you're tainted. Mm-hmm. You still have value. You still are amazing. You are not that wilted flower. You're not that chewed up bubble gum or whatever the Mormon stories are.
Yeah, I heard the chewed up bubble gum one.
They tell that, or the wilted flower and all the things, like you are not those things. And I don't want them to feel like they have less worth just because they did something with a boy that they shouldn't have. And honestly, I just don't know what the big deal is.
Well, the narrative is based off of men in the church, right? These white men, right, that are the higher ups that are like, well, you're tainted if you touch a man, which is crazy because what you're saying is our value goes down when one of you touches us. So it's you guys that are the problem.
Yes, exactly. Right. Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. And then even within marriages, and it's really hard to be told, no, you can't do something. And now all of a sudden you're supposed to be able to know how to do all this stuff sexually.
Oh my God.
And then there's just like, nobody knows what they're doing.
Right. In the order too, it's like, you can't even research anything about your own body. You can't even know what's happening. Now it's time to get married. And now you got to be a little whore in the bedroom and you're getting lingerie. Yeah. Like I remember going to bachelorette parties where to my 15-year-old friend, And someone made a joke about a boner, and she was like, "What's a boner?" I'm like,
And
"Oh
you're like, and
my
she's getting
God."
married.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's like, for a place that's so obsessed with procreating, you would think that you'd teach us how to procreate.
Yeah, anything. Yeah. No, that's just wild to me. And then also, like, by the way, you're probably going to have a threesome.
Right.
Because
if you're marrying into the
yeah.
higher up family, there's extra rules.
Yeah, then there's that. Okay, so then what happened? So you finally,
The
you're
cops are there,
with the
right?
cops. This cop talks you out of
Pressing
pressing
charges,
charges,
and
but
then-
it's on his record.
Right. And the other cop, honestly, to this day, I wish I could shake his hand and be like, "Thank you so much for the advice you gave me." Because he was like, "Amanda, you need to take this as your silver lining and get out." Like for the rest of my life, I remembered that he said that to me.
You're not 18.
I wasn't, but my 18th birthday was around the corner, and my dad, so I called my mom and I was like, "Hey, just so you know, the rumors that are going around the order is that I clawed myself in the throat and da-da-da, but I just wanted you to know from me what actually happened." And my mom was like, "Oh, okay."
Did she believe you?
She did believe me.
did, yeah.
And then she asked if I would come over, and my dad like showed up, and he was like, "You need to apologize to Jason, the man that attacked me." That's the first thing he wanted to say to me, is that not, "I'm sorry he did that to you," not "what happened." "You need to apologize to the man that attacked you."
Because it's your
And-
fault.
Right. And so I was like, I will never apologize to him. I am not an order member. And I think at that point, I had ran away so many times, and I became such a, like, I was starting to make his reputation look really bad. And I think in his mind, he thought that I was going to come crawling back. He thought that I wouldn't make it on the outside. But here I am, and he's watching my videos.
How do you know he's watching them?
Because I hear about it. So I'll say something.
From your mom or from who?
So I'll say something specific in a video that I hadn't said before, and then a sibling who still talks to a sibling over here who still talks to mom or my dad will be like, "Oh, dad said that that you said this, and this was his response to," like, basically saying that he's right. And I'm like, "Wait, that video was posted today." So he must have like refresh, like waiting for the video to get posted to watch it so that he could come up with something.
A fan. I wonder what his screen name is.
I know. He's in there like commenting.
Yeah.
You know what I think though? A part of it is he knows that people are watching me and that I have a good point. So he has to come up with the response, because I must be causing questions. People are secretly watching and having questions. So he has to hurry and come up with a response.
Well, so are you allowed to watch TV, have cell phones? Like, are these people within the order? Are they?
They're very controlled.
Okay.
I wasn't allowed to have a cell phone when I was in there. Like, I had a secret cell phone, but like the women are more controlled than the men because they want the women to be like stuck there. But I do remember being able to
because the
sneak
system
stuff.
is set up to
Benefit the men.
benefit the
and
man.
not the women. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
of course they're not going to want to leave. It's no different than the Mormon church. You see all these women that are leaving. The men are not leaving. I have lots of friends that they've left and their husbands are still going, still there, or they've gotten divorced because the husband refused to
And
leave.
that's what frustrates me so much, because it's like, is it not enough to see someone you love suffering, or do you just not care? Do you not see us as equal or as human?
I just think that they were like, but that was so good. I can't give that up.
What was good about it? You got to be on a pedestal and you got people
Yeah.
kissing your ass?
Yeah.
Is that really that fun?
You get to have control. Yes. You get to do whatever you want and have it covered up and get away with it. And if you do any sort of sin, it will be blamed on your wife.
I think the only people that really love that lifestyle are people that don't even know themselves. Like, if you really like care to get to know who you are as a person, you want to be known as deeply as you know others. You want to be able to have those deep, meaningful relationships. And you can't have that when you're on this surface level. Like, everybody's doing what I want. You can kiss my ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's such a superficial.
But at the same time, I don't know if anyone ever really gets to know who they really are. Like, what are your wants? What are your desires? What do you want to be when you're told this is what you have to do?
true.
You're slowly brainwashed over a course of years. You have lessons. I mean, you are constantly, not just on Sunday lessons, but you've got family home evening. You're praying together as a family. Like, you've got Wednesday night activities when you're a small child. And then also you have
Right.
them when you're all the way through 17. And
yeah, you're constantly being fed this.
Yes.
That's a good point too. Like, how can you know what exists on the other side and how beautiful that is when you're on this side and you've never seen
And how do you know
this?
what you believe in?
Right.
There's no way to know what you believe in when you are being told. And there is a lot of people within the Mormon church that the parents won't help you pay for college unless you go to a church school, right?
Well, I've heard too, missions. You have to go on a mission as well before you can. Yeah.
Oh, for men, for sure. That is a requirement. But because now they've lowered the age, but it used to be that you would have to go to school for a year because it was 19. But now you can go right out of high school at 18. But, there's parents that won't even pay for it unless you go to a church school because they know you're there. You have these weekly devotionals with the president of the church who, when I was there, it was Bednar, who is now, isn't he an apostle now? He's an apostle.
That's the person's name? Bednar?
Yeah, this is his last name.
Oh.
So I don't know what his first name is, but President Bednar, who's now an apostle, so he's one of the top guys in the church now, but it was every single week, every single student has to go into this auditorium and you are basically fed what they call devotionals. And every single week it was about how, that you need to stop being selfish. You need to get married. Do not put your education in front of getting married and starting a family.
Do you ever feel like there's the Mormons and the order and the military all do that same thing of breaking a person down to where they can rebuild them into what they want them to be?
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
I think that's the first step of brainwash. Well, if you have to brainwash them, if they're born there, that's easy. It's a blank slate. Yeah. But if you need to brainwash them, you have to break them down to that of like, you don't want to be selfish. You need to be living for others.
I think that they tried to do that with me within my calling because I always served in the young women's, and I feel like they did that on purpose by saying you need to be the one that tells the girl she needs to wear this t-shirt, because we would have t-shirts in our closet for girls that showed up in tank tops.
Really?
And so they would want to have me have to be that bad guy, or say you need to give the lesson this week telling the kids that they're not allowed to date until they're 18 and they can only do group dates and not to go with the same boy more than once.
Was that hard afterwards to be like, sorry that I did that?
I didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't, because and I would have moms that came up to me and they would say, my daughter, I need you to have her put the t-shirt on. And I was like, she left your house.
Why is that my responsibility?
It's not my responsibility. And I remember being like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Like girls would show up in a 2-piece and it wasn't even like a bikini. It'd be like a tankini, they're kind of longer on top, like a sports bra kind of thing. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell her she can't be here. I'm not going to do it. You can. Right. But I'm not going to do it. And I think that they were they knew the girls liked me so much. So they wanted me, if I had to drop the hammer, then they would like me less. And I'm not doing that. That is their parents' responsibility. That is not mine. And I would refuse, and they didn't like it. The leaders didn't like it, but I'm like, you cannot force me to come down on these girls. I'm not doing it. If you want to enforce the rule, you go right ahead. But me, I'm going to sit right over here and I'm going to tell her she looks great in that bikini.
They're like, dang it.
Like, yeah, exactly. Okay. So finally you leave. Where do you go?
So at the time I had,
because you don't have money, I'm guessing, right? You don't have access to money? Or yes?
I was smart enough to figure this out. Well, I was also lucky that I worked at the bank.
You squirreled it away?
Yeah, okay. I worked at the bank and I was able to have access to, they would give me $500 at the front desk that I could give out if people came in, but I could only give out $500 for the day. And so I figured out how to make a fake authorization code. One of the leader's kids taught me this, actually. Make a fake authorization code on the slip. And then I just drew out, I think, it was $2,000 that I had stowed away. And then by this point where I got attacked, I was like, this is it, I'm done.
That's not very much. 2,000 is not going to get you very far.
I know. At the time, though, I was like, this is a lot of money because I didn't have access to it. So this was like the most money I had ever had in my hands.
Is that because that was the number that you said your account never got above 2,000? So that's how you could get that much?
Technically, I could have it wasn't stealing because they were stealing my money. Yeah. I could have taken more, but I was too like I felt like I was stealing because I didn't know exactly how much money they had taken from me. So I only took the 2,000. I wish I would have taken more now, but it's whatever. It's done and over with.
You were in survival mode, just trying to get out of there, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad that I was able to leave at the time that I did. But yeah, I ended up with the guy that I ended up marrying. If you watch Escaping Polygamy, it's the guy I married on the show. And then
and was he the one that you had a crush on earlier?
No, this is later on in the game.
Okay.
And his mom ended up leaving.
And he wasn't one of the guys that you ran away with or anything, right?
No, he wasn't, because the one that I was running away with, he was the Idaho one. He was the brown boy, and I think he's still living in Idaho. But this one, his mom had been very defiant against the group. It's actually in a family. They're the Hansen family. They're very like looked down upon just because they speak up against the injustice.
But they were part of the order.
Yeah, but she had left, and then the dad shortly followed her afterwards, and so their family was kind of like on the outskirts, and that's what I wanted. I wanted something to where, but the crazy thing with him was he was still a believer up until the moment I got attacked, and he saw that the leader was on the brother's side. It took that being in front of his face, because
he's witnessed the attack.
Yeah, he still was like, no, Paul would never condone this. Paul would never condone what his brother just did. And I was like, he fucks his sisters. Like, come on.
And his niece.
Like, literally. Yeah. Like, it's again, like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like, why do you want to believe this man so much? But I think it's because then they have to deconstruct everything they've ever believed. So this guy finally sees it. His eyes are finally open. We leave together. That day was when we both left.
So did you have any sort of romantic connection with him before this day?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were secretly seeing each other at this point, because I was 17 now at this point. So that other guy, he had got kicked out, and then years later I met him at my brother's wedding, because he was my brother's friend.
So do you feel like they kicked him out but kept you because you were still like the higher
I was a woman.
Well, yeah, and you're a woman.
Yeah,
they need you.
Women are like precious. Like I really think they don't look at a woman. They look at a boy as like, okay, someone left. A girl, they look at 10 plus, because she could have had 10 plus kids. So we just lost that many.
Yeah, and half of them are probably going to be girls. So
yeah, exactly, which is even more.
We need more.
So yeah, I ran away with him, and then you see on Escaping Polygamy, I get married to him. Literally less than a year later, I was married, because same thing. I felt like an old maid at 18. How you were saying at 21, you felt that. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to be getting, like, I felt this weird urge that I need it. Like, it was so hard to shake the culty side of me. We still were like, we're gonna have 6 kids. We're not brainwashed, because we're gonna have less. So what did
you do? You left together, and where'd you go? Like, did you have to get an apartment? Like, what did you do?
Yeah, down the line, we got an apartment, but he was staying at an outsider's house, so we stayed there, and then eventually, got an apartment. I got my first job. I remember getting so excited. My very first paycheck, I was like, I get to keep all of this.
All of it.
Every single dime. And it was like, I was minimum wage, so I'm like, $200.
But still. Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, then it was hard, though, to keep a marriage, which I like commend you for being able to, and I think because you're willing to do therapy, you're willing to see that you can bring the stuff with you. We could not have a marriage that wasn't, it felt like an order marriage. Like, it was very, I am the man of the house, and you have a say, but I have the final say. It really felt like I went from my dad's house to a new owner. That's how it felt. Like, this was my owner, my dad, and now I'm going to a new owner.
Did you feel like he wanted to practice polygamy?
We did have arguments about it when we were younger.
Really? Okay.
He would say, well, if God, and I would see red when he would say this, he would say, if God says that I have to marry another wife, then I have to. And then I would see red, and I'd be like, if God tells you to marry a man, then you should do that. And he would be like, well, God would never say that. I was like, well, why would God tell you to cheat on your wife? Mm-hmm. Like,
you're like, actually, God's telling me to take on another
exactly.
husband. So
we would have arguments about that. And then towards, like, after we deconstructed a little, then he realized, like, how stupid that whole mindset is. But it did feel like a lot of the time I was like, use your brain, but it was really like, and this is why it's sad that the men will stay. Like, you're right. Like, it makes me feel like they don't see us as equals.
Because we're not.
Right.
We are not.
So that's how it felt the whole
We
marriage.
are basically just this capsule to have children.
And so
That's
to be in a marriage with someone who does not see you as human, it dehumanizes you. And I felt like a shell of a person towards the end of the marriage, and finally filed for divorce 7 years into the marriage. It took 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you know it was
wild.
finally time?
There was one moment, I don't know why it finally clicked at this moment. We had got the house. We were finally like in a stable financial situation. We lived in a nice neighborhood in Utah, and I just was starting my YouTube channel, and he had woke me up. It was like 6 or 7 in the morning. I remember it was still dark outside, and he was like, sit down. And I sit down, and he's in front of my laptop, the computer that I edit my YouTube videos on. And he had been going through all of my footage of my recordings of like an interview with one of my friends. And he was like, are you swearing in this video? And I was like, yeah, I did. And he scolded me like he was my parent. And I don't even remember what he said because I started to disassociate. And as he was scolding me for swearing in that video, I just remember thinking, I have to get a divorce. Like I can't be having these conversations anymore. Like this is not the life I'm going to be living. But you know what my response was after he's done scolding me?
What?
Okay. Literally, like I was gone. I
Yeah.
was so gone. Like the marriage was over. So then I think it was like a few months later, I was like, yeah, I think it's time for divorce. And he was like, what? He was shocked. I was like, I don't know why you're shocked, man.
You
Like,
did this.
Yeah, it's been done for a while, but yeah, he was so shocked. But I was like, there were nights where I cried myself to sleep, and he knew I was crying, and he didn't care. So I'm like, I don't know why you're sitting here bamboozled when I've been over here like decaying. Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So how far after when you left did you go on the show on Escaping Polygamy?
Right after. Like
Really?
when you watch me get married at 18, like I just got abused by my uncle at 17, like months prior to that. Like that was all, it happened so fast. I got approached by producers probably like
You were
3
abused
months.
by your uncle?
The uncle that attacked me.
Yeah, he was your
one.
uncle?
Yeah, it was Paul's brother. Yep. My
Yeah,
uncle.
he's your uncle. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's your dad's brother.
Yep, half
right?
brother. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, months after that, I get approached by these producers. I was actually not supposed to be on full time. I was just supposed to be like a storyline. But I guess they liked me and they knew that I had communication with a lot of members that were still wanting to leave. And that was what the show was Escaping Polygamy, right? So we were trying to get the escapes.
How did
But
you find these people, or did
they found me?
Okay.
Because they were already talking to Jessica, Chanel, and Andrea, who were the main girls, and they were trying to find just more information. And I guess word got out my story. My story was like big for insiders and outsiders. So then they came to me and asked me my story, that story about me being attacked and the police being called. So yeah, then they contacted me, and I know at the time I remember being like, yup. But when the producers would be like, so can you say, you know how producers are like, can you say it like this?
Yes.
So they
yes.
were like, well, can you say that I left the cult at this time? And I when they would say cult, I would be like, cult?
A cult?
What? No. Like
not
I
what that
still
is.
was deconstructing that was a cult
Yeah.
while I was on Escaping Polygamy. Like that's how wild it was. Like when I watch the show now, I'm like, damn, I was just a little girl like trying to make sense of it all. And one of the number one comments we got from the show was, why are their pupils so big? Why are their eyes so big? And I think it's because trauma. I think big pupils means a lot of trauma. Is that true, or is that?
I've never heard that,
Okay, maybe I'm making it up.
but I'm gonna start Googling that. Yeah.
Now when they say it, they're like, oh, why are your eyes so big? I'm like, because I've seen so much.
I've seen so much. That's why. That makes sense. Okay, so then what did you say to these people that were these all kind of like fence sitters, or were they people like you that wanted out but just had no way?
The people that were coming on the show?
That you were helping them escape. Yeah.
There were so many that would agree to meet up and then flake. Like there's so many that want to but are so afraid.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't even know how the show made this happen. To one, get someone to leave, and then two, to document it.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a hard thing to do. And I think that's why it was easy to go through me with my siblings who already basically wanted to go. Because after I left, I feel like things started to kind of fall apart as far as like, my dad started to get more frustrated with things. And then I had a half brother that left around the same time. And when Christmas started to happen with the
half brother. So is that the
first wife? Yeah, he was born the same year as me.
Okay.
And
so is he technically your
he's closer
cousin?
related, right? Because it's like your mom's sister's kid, but also your dad's kid.
Yeah.
And we did a DNA test and on Ancestry, I think it was, and it came up that he was my full brother.
Oh.
So our genes are so close that we come up as full siblings because moms are sisters and we have the same dad. So wild. But I think everything started kind of falling apart. My sister told me after I left that Christmas, then my half brother who left tried to sneak some presents in to give to the kids. And when my dad found out, he started tearing open all of the presents and trying to take so that no one could have these gifts. And they were pictures of him and his wife because he had gotten married. And one, it was because he's an outsider and he's going against them by contacting them. Two, his wife was Mexican.
Oh.
Well, part Mexican.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so then my sister told me, she's like, that's when I knew I wanted to leave because we had on our fridge a picture of the neighbors down the street who just got married that they gave us. And they were interracial marriage. So why would we put a picture of treat the strangers down the street better than our own family? So in that moment, she's like, I didn't know how I was going to get out, but I knew I didn't want to be there anymore. So things like that just kept happening. And it was like once one person leaves, then it kind of everything starts to fall apart.
So how many of your siblings have left?
In my mom's family, of the 10 kids, 5. 5 out of 10.
And then the
first wife had the brother, and then there was a brother that ended up with a drug addiction actually after he had married his cousin, the whole thing, and then ended up leaving. So only boys have left from the first wife's family, which of 15 kids, she only had like 3 girls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm sure that she got shamed for that. Like, it's her fault. But I think 3 left from the first wife, and then, 5 from mine. The third wife, the oldest son reached out to me to try to get out, and he did try to, live on the outside for a while, but they found out where he was at, and they basically got him, manipulated him to go back.
Was he underage?
He was 18.
18?
No, he was 18. But I think it was really, it is so hard to live and function on the outside. One, because you just lost your whole community. Not only that, now you're Satan, basically, because you left. And
because your family won't talk to you now.
If they go against the rules, then they can contact me.
Okay.
But there's a lot of them that won't.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's some that I haven't seen since the day I left. Yeah. But
how does that impact you just psychologically?
I definitely thought it wouldn't be as bad. Like, I think that if I didn't gaslight myself, I call it gaslighting because it must have been gaslighting. I told myself that my family wouldn't do that to me. Mm-hmm. And then when I made the jump, and then they did that to me, I was like, what the hell? I was shocked. But had I known that they would do that to me, would I have left? Because after it was done and over with. But I was so shocked at the treatment. Like, my 18th birthday, my mom made me think that the whole family was going to come see me. And we went to this park. It was Willard Farm in Utah. And I show up thinking I'm going to see all my siblings that I hadn't seen since that attack happened. And my mom's there. And for my birthday, she gives me a gift. And it's a photo album of all my siblings. And she tells me that I'll see them again if I can go back to the order. Like, go back to the order and then you can see them.
Wow. Were you not in the photo?
No, they were all like really great memories of my childhood.
Oh.
With my siblings.
Oh, it wasn't like a group photo.
No, it was like a whole. This bitch took the time to put like happy little memories and gluing them all together, like cutting out little brothers, a page for my brothers, a page for my sisters, even like a whole 3 pages for daddy. Like, and she gave me 2 photo albums.
How old were you when you finally found out that he was your dad?
That was 8 years old when I got baptized.
8. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had to figure out on my own because he lied to my face. He was like, I called him dad, and he was like, I'm not your dad. Like, flat out.
Well, I can't even imagine how that like impacts a child.
I know. I'm still learning how it's been affecting me. I think it's really affected my trust in people.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's also affected my, I think I've healed a lot of parts of myself because I've been willing to go to therapy. And I think the first steps were admitting that my way of life was wrong, right? And that I need to reevaluate, and that I'm the one suffering because I'm choosing not to. So it's that being able to like let go of the ego. But yeah, trusting myself was the hardest thing. Trusting myself that I was going to be able to make the right decisions in the relationships because I had been fooled so much before, right? And I think I shamed myself for being fooled. Like, how could you believe in all of those lies? But if you look at it, like, your dad was lying to you. Like, of course you would believe your dad. Of course you would believe your mom. You believe the people that are supposed to be taking care of you. So I think the steps for me now is just really trying not to shame myself for the things that happened to me. They weren't my fault. I was just born in it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when people leave, I mean, I would guess it would be really hard because there's no money, there's no
no community,
right? No community. So you don't really have anyone that can help you. So did the show help?
The show helped the ones that left. They gave them a lump sum. And, and then I did like that they did this. I think that we negotiated with them because I was like, we can't just film their life and then be like, good luck.
Yeah.
So they gave them an amount of money, and then I think 6 months rent free at a location that they desired. And my mom even got that because my mom left on the show and then went back.
Why did she? Okay. What, tell me about that.
Yeah.
Why?
And that's why, well, I think that she had just wanted to leave for a long time, but I'm
well, that
so
explains
confused.
more why she was giving you
because there's definitely
to try
something
to
in
help
her.
you cope with it. Yeah.
Right. There's something in her that doesn't resonate with that lifestyle. Obviously, I think there's something in all the order members that doesn't really want to be there, but they don't feel like they have any other option. And I think that's why my mom ended up going back, because my dad found her. She went to Colorado where her brother was, the uncle that was taking care of my other brother. So my mom goes to see her brother in Colorado. He was LDS. He takes care of her out there for a little bit. And then my dad finds out where she's at. And this is a story I was told. He basically said
Did she take all of her kids with her?
There was one that he was so diehard for the order, and I think he was 18. So she left him a note, and this is all on the show documented. And I think that was really hard for her to do, but she also felt like it was the only option. But yeah, she was only out for 3 months, and then my dad found her, and they were having dreams that her daughter was going to die because of her choices. And they just guilt tripped her to go back.
Wow.
So, yeah. But I know I would love to see a day where she's not in that cage anymore. But I had to let go of that hope because it was killing me. To constantly have that hope that one day she would leave and I would have my mom back. It was something I just couldn't live with. So I had to just let it go and be like, if it happens, great. If not, great. I chose to leave. I chose this better life for myself, and I deserve to be happy out here. So, yeah. Wild.
So where do you go now? Are you dating? What do you do?
I think that
You've had no kids, right?
No. I for a long time, I was like, I still want kids. But the older I get, the more I'm like, do I just want kids because I was told my whole life that's my only value? And I feel this that I only have value if I have a child? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm in this weird limbo actually currently where I'm like, I don't know where I want to be, and that's okay. And I am going to allow myself to learn more about myself, because I've only been out of Utah since I turned 25. So 2021. So I've only been out of Utah, and I really, like how I was saying, it was like being reborn when you left the LDS. When I left the order, it was like being reborn, but when I got divorced, it was like being born again. So I could actually, because I had never drank, I was still living an ordered life.
So you drink now?
I actually am trying not to because I liked drinking a little too much when I started drinking. But yeah, so after getting divorced, I could swear, I could drink, I could live wherever I wanted. I could decide it was the first experience dating, really. So, and it sucks because I moved to Vegas right after my divorce, and I would not suggest your first time dating be in Vegas.
No, Vegas is wild.
It was wild, and I learned a lot really fast. But yeah.
I bet you did.
Yeah, a lot of hard lessons.
Yeah. Okay, so do you remember the first time you drank alcohol?
Yeah, I do actually.
How was that? What did you drink? What was it?
It was champagne.
Champagne. Ooh,
Yeah.
celebration.
It was because I worked at a club actually.
Okay.
So I heard how much money my friend was making at this club, and I was like, hang on, let me go get divorced real quick.
Yes, exactly.
No, the divorce was already in session, and
Also,
she
I get to
told
keep
me,
all of this money. Like,
yeah. Oh, wait, what do you, oh yeah, at the club.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's cash, and it's like, yeah. Well, usually it was cash. So I'm working at this club, and I'm not drinking because I was still very like, I don't want to lose my morals and be worldly. I still had this weird like, no tattoos, no drinking, and
okay, so they all believe in the same thing. What about coffee? Is coffee's a thing that
coffee
you
was
guys-
secretly drank all the time. In the
Okay,
order,
but that's
you're
not
supposed
something
to,
you
because
really-
of the word of wisdom.
Okay,
Right.
so they follow the same thing as Mormons. So no tattoos. How is it with the ear piercings?
You weren't supposed to. Like, I pierced my own with a safety pin.
Okay, so you weren't supposed to have any, but in the Mormon church you can have one set.
Okay.
One.
But a second one is
Apparently girls are doing
Slutty.
it now because yeah.
Isn't that weird
it
that a
is.
hole in your ear could be
Well, and
slutty?
I had like my cartilage pierced when I joined the church. I was riddled with holes.
And
like,
then they made you take it all out?
yeah. After, of course, I was dunked and baptized
Oh.
in the bath water. Like, yeah, now they're like,
Wow.
okay, you have to take that out. I'm like, what?
That's
yeah.
so
I feel
weird.
like those rules should have been told to converts up front, but they don't really teach you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because
And I'm like, you had to have seen I had all these ear piercings.
Well, if they told you all these rules, would you have joined?
No, I
okay,
wouldn't
then
have.
that's why.
I know. I would not have. Well, and it wasn't like just those rules, but then it was like, it just kept getting like, so each stake basically can make up their own rules. And so then, like
Right.
rules that are here. So like, you're not allowed to play sports on Sunday. Well, you've got people in California playing sports on Sunday, but here you can't play sports on Sunday. So like my son, he wasn't allowed to pass do you guys have sacrament with
We
the
don't.
bread and water?
I
and
think they
everything?
do now, but they didn't when I was there.
So we had
So he couldn't pass sacrament because he was playing sports on Sundays?
Yes.
Wow.
And I was like upset because I'm like, well, because the bishop's telling me that this is what's going to happen. Also because he wore a bow tie and not a straight tie. And I was like, okay, I think that's dumb, but whatever, fine. Like, that is stupid.
That's so shamey, right? Like, you can't eat that.
Yeah.
Da, da, da.
I
And then
literally
everyone looks
asked
at
this
him.
same stake president when I had the meeting. I was like, is that still a thing? He's like, I still stand behind that. I'm like, okay. So, yeah, no, you cannot play sports on Sunday, or you're not. So you couldn't do baptisms for the dead. You couldn't like go to the stake dances because you couldn't get your temple recommend card
Oh, yeah.
because you are now unworthy. And I remember thinking, well, I know, because I knew everything about the youth, right? Like because I was in Young Women, so I knew everything about all of the kids that was going on because everyone would love to tell me things.
Yeah.
And I was a secret keeper. But I remember thinking, I know that boy's absolutely fucking his girlfriend in the ass and he is passing sacrament, but my kid is just playing sports on Sunday and he's still going to church. So, because you can go to church anywhere in the whole United States and still make it to a sacrament meeting.
That would be
somewhere around.
so hard not to be petty. I would be going up to him like, should you be eating that?
I was seriously so upset. I was like, this is such bullshit. You're not going to let my kid pass the sacrament. And then it's also so shameful, right? Because everyone's going to see that he's not walking up and down the aisles. He's sitting here with his mom. Instead, when he's of the age that he should be passing the sacrament, he's not able to do that. So that's a public shaming within the church that everyone can see. So they don't know what his sin was. So I'm like, I've got a good kid, and now he's going to look like he's got
bad
this
kid, yeah.
scarlet letter just because he's playing basketball
Right.
on a Sunday.
And that's why I'm like, it just creates good liars. Like all of these people just end up lying.
I got away with it until people would always tag me in a championship photo, and I'd be like, damn it. Like, and they'd be like, yeah, but then you have all these policing, right? Because everybody turns you in. So then I'd go on Facebook and Instagram, and I blocked every single church member from my social media.
Wow.
Because I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous.
What is the incentive for policing? Because in our group, how they would basically get you guys to police each other and tattle on each other was they made us believe that if you could protect them from themselves, like you're saving them from themselves by tattletelling on them so that you can correct them. So you're basically forcing them to go to heaven with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm not really sure, but I do remember at BYU, Idaho, is that you were responsible to basically tell on your roommate. So if they did something, break curfew, you're not allowed to have a boy pass the threshold of just the living room or the kitchen. You could only be in the common area. So if someone took a boy back to their room and you didn't tell on them, you are just as much in trouble. So I think people do it out of fear of getting into trouble. I got kicked out of BYU actually for breaking curfew because my roommates, because I was dating my future husband or whatever, so we'd stay out. It was also a 12 o'clock curfew on the weekends, and I was 21, and I'm like,
you're like, this
is stupid. I should be able to stay out past midnight. And they turned me in because if they didn't and I got caught, they would be in trouble.
Was you mad? Like, which one of you bitches was it?
No, I know exactly who it was. Well, she wasn't fucking invited to my wedding. Like, fuck her.
You're like, but if I would have listened to you, I wouldn't be here right now.
Also, she doesn't even go to church. So there.
Oh, that's so annoying.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that's what it is. And same thing happened with my husband when he was in the bishopric, is that he knew that somebody was vaping and he didn't tell the bishop. And the bishop was like, how did you not tell me? And he's like, that's not how repentance works.
The tattletale.
Yeah, no. Like if he wants to repent and stop vaping, that's for him to decide, not for me to force him into repentance.
Right.
But no, people didn't agree with us. We weren't very good. Like we were
bad
just
members.
because we just didn't care. We were like, I just feel like I'm like, you do you. Like,
well, it's so much energy too to be like constantly like, what are you doing over there? What are you doing over there?
yes, but the church, they create this fear. So you're supposed to police each other. And if you're not, then you're in trouble. So it's like, it's just so much fear everywhere.
Yeah. I think it's like, also, if you can keep your members in that survival mode, they're easier to control. And so like if you make a decision out of fear, you're not thinking rationally, and it's actually a benefit to them.
Yeah. Well, and also like they tried to say that all callings are created equally, but it was not. It was also because my husband was in the bishopric. And so they're like, you don't get to have basically a spot in this higher level if you're going to let your kid do that and play basketball on Sunday. Because it was kind of like, it was fine before, but now that you're in the bishopric, like this is not okay.
What do you get in this higher level?
Yeah, like so like that's who's in charge of each ward is like the bishopric, and he was in the bishopric. And so you're in charge of everyone. Yes, there's hierarchy, exactly. So yeah,
it's very similar to my group.
Yes, there's hierarchy, and basically the more righteous that you are, and it's not
even righteous, it's just your reputation.
It doesn't go unnoticed that the people that are in those positions are people that have money.
Interesting.
Isn't it?
Do you think they're cutting into the 10%?
No, because everybody has to pay their 10% regardless. But I think that they just think that if you're successful, then you must be more righteous because God is blessing you.
Yeah, but are they benefiting? Because the Mormon Church has billions of dollars.
Billions.
Are these guys at the top taking a chunk of that for themselves? Is what I'm saying.
I mean, who knows? I don't know. I mean, you had to count money every Sunday.
Okay, so you have to get to a certain level to probably have more access.
And that's what happens is that when you start becoming in leadership, that's when you see behind the curtain. And then that's when...
That's why I think once
I
they
was done.
get to that point, yeah, the ones that see behind the curtain and they're okay with it, that means the ones
Yes.
at the top are the worst ones.
They are. But that's why you're just like, I'm out. Like when we got to that point and I was like, listen, I don't want to be here. I'm not going to like,
Can't
my
get behind
husband
it.
needs a release then from that calling, because I'm not going to be pushed into being something that I'm not. I mean, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with my kid playing basketball on Sunday. I really don't think that I'm going to be kept out of heaven. I don't think he's going to be kept out of heaven.
Yeah.
I just don't believe it's that deep.
Yeah.
I just
And
don't.
if Jesus cares that much, I'll just go to hell then.
Like, honestly, and I don't want to hang out with any of you fuckers. Like, I'd rather hang out in
Right.
hell then, if that's what.
That's what I thought. I was like, I have to not only live this shitty life here, and then I gotta die and deal with you fuckers up there too. Like, no.
So you drink champagne for the first time. What'd you think of it?
It was good.
Yeah.
And I did feel some guilt because the way I got it, because the guy really wanted me to drink. He's like, he was like bottle service. We brought the bottle over.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he's like spending all this money and he wanted me to drink the champagne with him. And I was like, I don't drink. And it made him want me to do it more.
Well, yeah.
So then he slammed $100 on the table and he's like, what about now? And I drank that so fast. So that's when I realized I wasn't okay with drinking, but I was also morally not okay with being broke. So that was higher on the morals.
Yes, yeah.
So then I started drinking, and I did enjoy it, definitely.
You're like, I can understand how prostitutions make a living. I get this.
Yeah, I understand the league, all of it. And in Vegas too, so going from one end to the opposite, okay? So no drinking, no nothing over here. Also like vanilla sex. We never did anything crazy in the bedroom.
Yeah.
To going over to Vegas where everybody has an addiction. There's people having like open relationships and they're so open about all this crazy shit that they're doing. I saw people doing coke on the counter. I'm like, what is that quote from, this isn't Kansas anymore.
Yeah, exactly. No,
But-
we were in Vegas and I got offered Coke in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I was like, and there was a secret door. It just opened. And I was like,
You want some coke?
I was honestly like, I looked at the towel lady and I was like, is this legit? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, I didn't see a price tag anywhere where I was like, is this part of the bottle service? Right? Like I don't know. Also, like I was a little nervous. It was like a sting operation. And
Yeah.
I was like, of course, some Mormon girl that's down here that's never tried anything like this before.
Is
Like I'm going to be the one.
And the
that
first
is-
time I try it, this is what's going to happen.
Exactly. And then I'm going to, they're going to come and just take me down. And I was like, let me go check with my husband. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
And then I went and told them, I was like, my group, and I was like, so listen, there's like this secret room in the bathroom and they're doing coke. Like, what do you guys think? And they're like,
This is Vegas.
absolutely not. Like, no.
You go back and you're like, they said no.
I know. I went back in later and I was like, because it's like one of those fancy ones where they have a towel lady, they have like, toothbrushes and toothpaste and mints and all the things out. But it was weird because it's like a common area where the men and women both wash their hands at the same spot.
Yeah.
And then the secret door is like in that common area.
That's crazy.
And then, and then you go over here to the women's and the men's to their stalls,
Yeah.
but everybody washes together. And I was like, well, that's why. So then everybody can do coke. Cause I
It's
thought it was
so
weird. I was like,
wild.
why are they going into this
Yeah.
door that just magically opened behind a mirror? Like,
Did you ever feel like, because for me going to Vegas, I was like, I guess this is just what life's like outside the order.
a little bit? Yeah. I was like, wow, this is fun. This is fun.
Yeah, I think that's why I started to drink more than what was normal, or like, because what even is normal drinking? But I didn't know what was healthy and what was not, because in Vegas, everyone's drunk all the time. You're on something
Yeah.
all the time. Someone's on something all the
Yeah.
time. And in Utah, it's like illegal to do anything. So I'm like, where's the line? And I ended up dating, he would never admit this, but he was an alcoholic. For sure. Like I woke up and he had peed the bed. Like that is how bad he was. But I didn't have, and this is the thing that.
Wait, this was your husband?
No,
Or
this is after my divorce.
Okay,
So after my
okay.
divorce, I go to Vegas, right?
you're-
And I'm
okay.
actually like experiencing things that I've never, but the problem with the way the order is they don't teach you how to even understand anything out there. So they kind of set you up for failure, but I guess because they don't want you to leave. So they only train you on how to be a good order member. So then you leave and you end up dating an alcoholic and being like, well, he just pees the bed sometimes, because you don't know what is normal and what's not. And so like, thank God for therapy. And like, when I got out, we should let anyone who's watching this, if you're trying to leave a cult or you're from a polygamous cult, you need help. If you're in Utah, there's a Holding Out Help is who helped me get my first job. They also helped me with therapy, which I never would have done because if it wasn't free.
You're trying to figure out alcohol, even just like how much is appropriate to drink, right? Because you're having to teach this stuff on your own. We had to do the same thing where we were like, well, what's appropriate? Like if we both go to the bars, is there a limit of how much we're allowed to drink when we're not together? Like you're right. Like what boundaries are there?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you guys had your relationship where that was alcohol and clubs and that stuff was probably just not even a part of it, right?
Right, exactly.
And now you're like, wait, we can experience life, but how much are we gonna? Where's the boundaries? Yeah. For me, it was like I would tiptoe into it, and then I do feel like I would shame myself a lot. And I was so afraid of things, which in hindsight, I am a little bit grateful that I was so terrified of drugs, because if I wasn't, I probably would have tried. Like I had never, to this day, never tried Coke, even though there'd been a time where this guy put it up to my nose on a key and I blew out. I was like, and he was like, you just got it all over yourself. And I was like, no, it was so yummy. Thank you so much. Like, please stop. So delicious. But because I was so terrified, then I stayed so far away from it. But that's the scary thing, is like, you're not educated on anything. So then alcohol, I did have a lot of friends who did it. And then obviously I'm dating this guy who he was getting shit-faced all the time. But I don't know what shit-faced looked like. I don't know. I didn't even know there was levels of drunk. I just thought when I sipped that champagne, I was like, oh, I'm drunk now, because
this is what it's like?
Yeah, this is what it's like. Oh, falling all over the place. I don't know. It was so like... I think it took so much longer to learn because, again, like you're shaming yourself, you're scared of it, and then you don't actually look at it for what it is. And I'm not trusting myself, and I don't know myself. So I'm sitting here trying to have a relationship with this alcoholic, but also trying to have a relationship with myself, learning. And I would give him so much credit for stupid little things, like because he swore. I loved that he swore because my ex didn't let me. So I would give this alcoholic so much praise because he wasn't as controlling.
So he was the opposite.
Right.
And
I loved that. I loved it so much. But yeah, when he peed his pants on my birthday, that's when I was like, okay, I know what this is now. And I think
maybe
this is
unhealthy. Yeah. This is maybe too much.
And that's why I credit therapy too. Again, Holding Out Help is the free therapy that I got. And I was able to call her and talk these things through with her, and she helped me be like, look, that's not normal, that's not healthy. And I had that person that I could confide in, that I could trust, that I could talk to about anything that I felt ashamed of, right? So that helped so much. But yeah, as of now, I'm not dating. I'm in a place of like just allowing myself to be and be okay with it just existing right now. Because I think I've lived with a lot of pressure on myself for so long that I'm trying to just calm that down.
Like what kind of pressure you think?
I think pressure, so obviously the order pressures of like what a woman's supposed to be. And even as an older sibling, raising the rest of my siblings, because I'm the second oldest of 10. So I was a mother as a young kid. And I think that's also why I didn't have kids was, one, I had already been a mother and I knew how hard that was to my own siblings, and I knew the stress of being that good example, and I was scared that I was going to do it wrong. And then the pressures of being a good wife when I got married. There were so many things, like to be able to be a good wife and to be able to please your husband and to be able to fit in with the household. And then his mom also had passed away 2 years into our marriage, and I felt that I went into that survival mode again, like trying to parent his because he had little tiny siblings that now are motherless. So I was going there all the time, feeling this like obligation and pressure to be there for these kids, be there for everyone else. And I don't think that I've ever really lived a life where I don't have that heaviness. So I'm trying to, because I think when you're born and raised in the order, probably in the LDS church too, as a woman, I've heard LDS people say that born to serve, right?
Yeah. Well, you're also, you're basically taught that you, through service is how you're earning your way to heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like checklists and you have to, the more you serve, right?
The higher up your brownie points
like,
go.
and you can even get to the point where you're like election made sure. So that's basically like you are for sure going to celestial kingdom. Like no matter what happens after this, you are like, so you can basically
They tell you that?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's like the order too. Like your number, when you become a numbered man, it's like your
ridiculous.
ticket.
Yeah. It's like you
that's
can get to that
wild.
point where you are
Yeah.
But guaranteed.
Not to be confused with, I do find joy in when I see my sibling needing help and I can easily make their life, easier. I love serving in that way. And there is a bond and a love with, give and take in relationships. And I love that. I think my issue is putting others' needs above my own constantly because that's how I was raised. And it's that heaviness of like, let me make sure everybody else is okay. Now let me go look in the mirror. Oh shit, like I'm in the hole again,
Yeah.
So now I'm in a space of like, I'm gonna exist. I'm gonna monitor myself, because I do notice that whenever I get into a relationship, I do tend to fall in that, what do you need? What do you need? And then forget about this,
Yeah.
So.
It's okay to be selfish. It's okay to put yourself first.
Right.
Yeah.
And the word selfish is so like has this negative meaning because of the religion, right?
Yeah.
That you can't fill anyone else's cup when yours is empty.
I went through all of that. It was really hard. I finally was like, I'm not doing laundry anymore. I
Yeah.
did it for 20 years. Your turn.
Good
Tag,
job.
you're it.
Because I think it's even harder when you're a mom.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like you
No,
have
it is,
these
yeah.
obligations running around in front of you.
I know. Yeah. No, even the kids are like, but you're not like on top of me. And I'm like, yeah, no, you got to figure it out on your own now. Like
Yeah.
I don't have time.
Right.
Like I'm busy. So, like you're going to have to make sure your homework's done. I can't be on top of every single thing. And if you forget something, I can't come and bring it to you. I'm sorry.
Right.
You have to be more responsible.
Right.
And honestly, I'm kind of like, I think it's going to make them better kids.
Right. In a way, it's almost like sometimes, and I caught myself doing this too with my siblings, doing too much enables them to not have to learn. So
Yeah.
it's like it sucks because you have to watch them fall down a little bit, and it's like, oh, you want to go help them, but by them falling down, they're finding their steps.
Okay, so we covered like every single thing that you had sent me, kind of like your bullet points. The only
yeah.
thing that we didn't cover was that there is no such thing as rape within the marriage, or there is rape within a marriage.
Yeah. Well, kind of like how I was talking about how my friend was married to the guy she didn't want to be married to.
The 15-year-old, is that, or
Oh, this was another teenager. I
another
think
one.
she was 16, and she was talking about how when she was engaged, she was telling me that she didn't want to be engaged to him, but she was told that I was like, then don't marry him.
Yeah.
Like, obvious, right? Because once you're married, you're basically your husband's property. So you just put out whenever he wants. And that's why you would hear girls saying things like, oh, I can't wait for him to get married again so he can get off of me.
Wait, so there's no such thing as saying like, I'm not in the mood, or I have a headache, or any of those excuses that normal wives make? That's not allowed?
They had those excuses, and I'm sure there were times where that happened, but I think that, I mean, I wasn't in all the marriages, but
Yeah.
I heard the verbiage that was said on the women that didn't like their husbands, and there was just not a thing in their mind of saying no. And I believe that because I didn't even know how to say no to dances, right? I had to figure out how to get my brother to come dance with me so I didn't have to say no, because you're not taught to say no to men. And sadly, when women leave the order, that becomes an issue. When you come out here and you don't know how to say no to men, so many women, there's just so many stories. I feel like I'm kind of sidetracking, but
Well, that's got to affect you then even in dating, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
well, and in my marriage too. In my marriage, there was definitely a hierarchy, and I feel like I obviously had more choice because I was on the outside, and I would argue with him, like how I said, like, well, what if God tells you to marry a guy? Then you have to. Like, I was that kind of a person, but I also did live with a lot of guilt and shame. And if he knew how to say the right things, then he could guilt and shame me into doing things, you know? So it was there were times where I just felt like looking back, I'm like, that was there was no way that relationship could have been healthy unless we both were willing to, the second we left, go to therapy and work on ourselves and admit that everything that we came from was not healthy, you know? But that's also why I never had kids with him too, because I never felt like we were going to be good parents. I felt like when I was a nanny for a little while. I did daycare and nannying and a lot of childcare when I first left, because that's a lot of what I knew. And there was a moment where I was force feeding this kid because that's what I was raised in. And I told him, I was like, you have to finish your food. He was 2 years old and he ended up throwing up. And I started bawling and realizing what I had done and that I didn't know any better and I wasn't ever going to do that again. But it made me think, how many other things am I doing just mindlessly because I was taught to do it, you know? So it was a scary realization. But back to the marital rape, that's something that is, it again, I don't even think the word rape was even said in the order when I was there. It's such a, women don't have rights, you know? And women are always the problem. So if you're getting raped, what did you do? It was always so when I left, I felt like the scum of the earth because I was a woman. They really push you down so much so that you can be obedient to the men. And so that's why when I had that talk with my friend where she was like, I don't want to marry him. And I was like, well, then don't. And she's 16 and she's like, well, they told me that Heavenly Father, that's the one that Heavenly Father wants me to marry. So I have to do it. And then a week later she's married. And you could tell she didn't want to be with him. She was walking in front of him. He would try to hold her hand and she wouldn't. And then she was brought into another meeting and they told her, you have to pretend that you like your husband.
Oh, no.
But he ended up getting married to so many women and she was so excited to have other women take him away from her. She hated him. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of women that are living like that in the order just to get that ticket to heaven.
That's interesting. So basically, is there a schedule? Is it they just kind of go through their wives that they stay at with?
My family specifically we saw my dad every third day, rotate. If it was her birthday, then they'd swap dates, right?
Okay.
If it was an anniversary, they would swap. Valentine's Day was tricky.
Yeah, how does that work?
I remember sometimes then it would just be if he was with my mom on Valentine's Day, then he would have to celebrate with the other ones too the next days or whatever. But there was jealousy too. So if my mom got a vacation, then the first wife would have to get a vacation. And then if my mom got a new car, then the first wife would have to get a new car. If my mom moved, then you know what I mean?
Well, would that also be another reason why, even if you didn't want to have sex with your husband, you wouldn't really say no, because then you would be one of the least favorite wives?
I think there's a lot of that. There's a lot of competition. Again, so that was just my family. The leader, he has 27 wives. Most of the time, he's at his favorite wives' houses.
So he
very
doesn't
pretty ones that
rotate.
are maintain themselves. No, he would only go to them when they're ovulating. And I know this because I was really good friends with one of the least favorite wife's kids, and she was like, we don't see him maybe once every 3 months, if that.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, I have so many stories on it's so obvious that he had favorites. And there was even when I was working at John's Marketplace, which is the order-owned grocery store, specific wives could charge things to him and others couldn't. So some wives had more access to his money than others. So in a way, being a beautiful, obedient wife could get you more if you were smart about it.
So when would they say no to where it's that it's rape?
What do you mean?
Because you were saying that it's that there's no such thing as rape within the marriage. So how would that go? If somebody didn't want, if they were newly married and they didn't want to have sex, or
so there's a specific story of this girl who married. I would say he's a rapist and an abuser. Obviously, they're not going to use those terms in the order, but she was married to him living in her parents' basement, and she was being raped, ran up to her mom to tell her mom what was happening. And she was like, I don't want to be doing this. He's doing this. And her mom said, you need to go please your husband. Get back down there. And again, the mom would not call it rape. But if you don't call it rape, that doesn't mean that it's not rape happening. And this girl, I only know the story because she left and she told it to me. There are probably so many stories like this that we just don't get to know about, and they will probably die with these secrets.
Really sad that these women are having to live like this.
Yeah.
Live.
It's like, have you seen The Handmaid's Tale?
Yes, it's a series. I haven't watched all of it, but yeah, it's right.
It's so
it's a
triggering.
series.
I just tried to watch it again the other day and I was like, whoa, I can't watch it.
Is it triggering?
It puts me back into that place of like, because sometimes you live your life and you kind of forget how fucked up it all was, and until you're in that moment. Like, kind of when you asked me what happened after I ran away, and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot that they literally put me in the basement, in the cellar. Like, my brain sometimes like, and we don't need to think about that anymore. Yeah,
I think that's a trauma response, like
yeah,
to protect,
just forgetting it.
protection.
Yeah, but The Handmaid's Tale, when I watched that the first time, I was like, I believed that the writer had like either heard about the order or been in the order or the FLDS or something, because it was so accurate, even down to the Bible verses they used to manipulate the women into it. Because they're giving them another woman, right? And having them bear children for them. It's so similar. But yeah, this is part of why I started my YouTube and wanted to get on Escaping Polygamy. It was like, thinking of my future kids in the order, not just that, but the women that are living it right now and think that they don't have a choice. It's not true. And there was a woman actually that just reached out to me recently who just left, and she said, I know you get so much hate, and which I definitely, so much hate from the order. These messages are what I do it for. She literally was like, I was able to watch your stuff while I was there, and it made me feel, like exactly what you said, it made me feel less alone. It made me feel like I had a voice. I have another option than just this forever. So what you're doing is I think it's so much more than what you think it is, you know?
I didn't realize that until I started getting messages from people, and these are people that they can't share their stories either, because they're either in a very, they're in a delicate situation where they're stuck in a marriage, or they're worried that their kids are going to get taken away by their husband, which does happen. Or also you are stuck, especially within a Mormon religion, because you have no education, you have no job experience. Like, at least it sounds like the women work in the order.
You have at least some experience with order businesses.
Yeah, but there is none of that within the Mormon church. So and I truly believe that men think that they can kind of get away with whatever they want because they know that their wives are stuck. Yeah. So they can have whatever poor behavior because there is no education for them to fall back on. There's no job. Yeah. And
they're kind of stuck.
And they can't afford the house that they're living in, right? So they're having to downsize. They're not going to be able to make the car payments that they make, or any of those things are very difficult, and child support is almost nothing, to where they almost can't even survive. And then they're having to go and get a job for the first time in their lives.
Yeah. So there's probably so much more that goes into what keeps a woman in, right? Well, and I think that that's a similar concern for order women is, how am I going to provide for these kids? Because also the men aren't going to pay child support. They can finesse the system to make it look like they make less money because they work for the order businesses. So, and then it's also like my family's helping me raise these kids, these 10 plus kids. Yeah. If I leave, I no longer have this help, right? And it's probably the same with Mormon. Like, well, we can't help you. Sorry. Maybe some families are different.
No. And if you leave the church, like, you're not going to get any sort of assistance whatsoever. And then they all apparently, like the men stay. And so they get all this praise because they double down. The men stay, and then they'll double down on the church stuff. And, they look amazing because they're this single dad that continues to bring their kids to church, and everyone's there to help do whatever. I mean, just, all of these moms that have big families of their own are literally kind of pushing their families aside to go help out this single dad that, was left with these kids because the mom decided that she was going to be an apostate.
Wow.
And, and they're drinking, so we can't have the kids. So then they'll help fight for, full custody
Wow.
because they're drinking or all of these things
That's
that are
so
like
similar to the order.
Yes,
Yep.
and it's like, but you realize that drinking's not like against the law, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but yeah, no, they'll make it very, very difficult for the mom to be able to survive as a single mom. And
Yeah.
no one, you lose your community, right? So you don't have anyone to help with your kids while you're trying to work and be a mom. You are going to need help if you have a job, and no one's going to help you. But they'll help the man because he's still going to church.
Ugh, that's so
it's really
annoying.
fucked up.
Yeah.
It really is.
And then she just feels even more alone.
Kind of, and it's almost like they're trying to force you to have to go back. Mm-hmm. And it's really it's sickening. Mm-hmm. But yeah, but at least I do know that they're all like, they feel like they're not alone and that there is hope. You just have to get through this really difficult time.
Yeah.
And
I think the first year was like the hardest as far as like, it's bittersweet. I'm sure you went through the same thing, like so much freedom, but then it comes at a cost.
Yeah.
A cost that you didn't realize how heavy it was. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of trusting that you made the right decision. And also like after leaving and seeing how the people treated you that way, you kind of confirm that you made the right decision.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll maybe wave at you from across the store, but
It's almost worse.
Yeah.
Like, don't give me your hypocritical little superficial wave. I know what you think about me. Like, I honestly kind of respect that. There was a time where I had left the church, like freshly left, and I was at the mall, Fashion Place Mall, and I was like looking through one of these little stores in there, and I bumped my back to someone. I was like, oops, sorry. I turned around. It was my cousin who was still in, and she just literally just stared at me and backed away slowly. And I turned around. And at the time I was like, what the hell? But I would rather that than a little like, oh, hi. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, I know you don't like me, so don't pretend to like me.
that's your entire identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like those are your people. Luckily, I didn't really have a lot of friends within the church because I just didn't. It didn't really connect with a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I did when I lived in Provo because it was, you know, it was more people like me, I guess. So I was able to find friends there, but not where I live now. Cause it's just, I think just cause there's less to choose from and I don't really find anybody that I have in common, but there is one lady that is just like, she's like a grandma to my kids. She's still, you know, she's the sweetest Mormon lady in the world, but she's married to a non-member. So I think that helps.
Yeah.
And she brings Christmas presents and all, you know, remembers all of my birthday and the kids's and my husband's. And so she's still very, very kind, but she did say that it's the talk. It's the talk of the church right now. Like
That you were the talk?
And
Do you take that as a compliment now, though?
well, I'm not sure. I'm like,
you
well, are
should.
they telling people not to communicate with me? Like, what is it? But fine, whatever, you do you. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't really say I really like loved you people before. So
You're
it's
like,
fine.
whatever.
Kind of like you're lost. But I have to say there's been so many people that have come out that have left, and especially the young women. And that's my biggest goal is especially the young women that are older now, even if they're in young women's now, to just say like, get an education, get a job. Don't just become a housewife. Don't make yourself like crippled like that, where you're forced to have to stay in a situation that you have no idea what's going to happen later within your marriage. You have no idea. And I just don't, but they create that on purpose to make the wife, I mean, you do not get a job unless your kids are all in school, right? And then if you do get one, you have to get one that's flexible so that you can be home when your kids are home.
Yeah.
It's really...
It
wild.
sucks though, because I feel like if you say that to them, like don't fence yourself in, they almost take offense to it, you know? Like it's
maybe.
Like, why wouldn't I want this? Why wouldn't I trust that this is the? Because I remember feeling that way. Like, no, this is the right choice, right? But it's like, just be careful.
I don't. Yeah, and when they tried to do that to my daughter because she wanted to be a doctor at a very early age, it was something that she wanted to do, and they were like, that's not going to work.
What?
Yeah, like her primary like leaders, like her teachers,
They're like, no.
we're like, that's not going to work. How are you going to be able to be a mom? That's going to be very difficult. And I remember her telling me this, and I remember that was that was the slow roll that started where I was like,
Wait
first
a
of all, don't
second.
tell my kid what to do. That's my job. Stay in your lane.
Yep.
And also like if she wants to be a doctor, like I can't look at my kid that is absolutely brilliant. She is brilliant, smarter than all of her brothers. Like you're gonna tell
And I
her.
say that with my chest.
Do you know what I mean? Like I'm like, you cannot tell this kid that is way more qualified than any man that she can't follow her dreams because she has a vagina and she needs to have babies. Like
That's their own projection onto, and
This
that
is
sucks
ridiculous.
too when a child, her brain is still developing too,
Yes.
and you're telling her that.
Yes.
Like, no, don't do that.
and that's, I mean, I was a business major at BYU Idaho. I was the only female in the entire program.
What?
Well, yeah, because everyone else is in early childhood development or to be a teacher.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they look at you like, witch.
No, they were honestly like, I remember a professor making a joke like, oh, that was actually smart to put yourself in a class with all the men.
Really?
And I was like, I remember being like, fuck you. Like,
What was he meaning by that comment?
like, I think it was just kind of like that was smart. Like instead of being in a class with all the girls, I'm literally putting myself as the only female in here with all these men so that I can be able to find myself a husband.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I don't understand what he means.
Okay, so do you have anything that you want to, any advice, like anybody that was in your shoes, anybody that's in any sort of high control religion, do you have any advice for them?
I think there's so much that I would say if I had all the time to sit down with you and tell you what I wish I could have told my younger self. But I think the biggest thing is to trust yourself. There's a reason why you're having these feelings and these questions, and you need to validate those feelings and those questions and trust that you're making the right decisions for yourself. You wouldn't be having these questions if they didn't need to be answered. So, and then anyone who's looking, I'm serious, holding out help. If you're in Utah and you need help, Google, there's a hotline for emergencies. If you need help out of a situation, you can call Holding Out Help. And they do have places where you can live. They have free therapy. They help you out of those. They're trained professionals that help you out of the situations that you're in. So,
And then lastly, what if you could go back and say something to you at a young age, like little Amanda, what would you say to her?
probably so much, but I think if I could have comforted myself, because I did not get a lot of comfort as a kid, it would have gone so far if I would have just been able to comfort myself and say, you're doing all the right things. You're not this evil person that they're saying that you are. Like if one person could have done that, I would have been I think I would be in a completely different place right now.
Where do you think you'd be?
I think that I would have had a lot more confidence a lot younger. I probably wouldn't have gotten married and felt the need to get married. Not to say that I don't like where I'm at now.
Yeah.
I'm happy with where I'm at, and I know that everything that I've done in my life has built me into the person that I am. But if a child in her most crucial moments isn't getting that love and affection and the validation, I'm still struggling now with trusting myself, because not only did they not trust me to make the right decision, they assumed I was always making the wrong one, no matter what. So it's something that's so hard to grow out of. If I just had not only someone, my future self telling me, that would probably make a big difference.
What does freedom mean to you?
Freedom for me is just being able to feel like I can exist without repercussions. Like, let me exist, let me explore, let me find myself, let me be. And that makes me feel within my soul so free. But I feel like that's such a base level, because I come from a place where freedom was so just non-existent. And I was confused. When I first left, I thought I had freedom when I was married. And then after getting out of that, realizing sometimes you cage your own self. And I think a lot of people actually out here put ourselves in a glass box where we limit ourselves because of, I don't know, fear, guilt, shame. What are people going to think of us? And life is way too short to do that to ourselves, but we're doing it constantly. So freedom to me is to be able to just exist and be without the guilt, shame, fear, being able to explore without any of that, which is harder said than done.
Because what is the guilt and the shame? Just that, like, where do you think that, is it around your family? Is it because you're worried that you're not going to make it to heaven?
I think that the heaven thing is kind of out the window for me at this point.
Like, do you even believe in God at this point?
I don't believe in the stereotypical God in a robe with long hair being like, you better do this or else. Because that to me doesn't make sense, because I don't want to return to a God that's like that anyways. Satan sounds more fun and free. And like I would grow into the person I am with someone who lets me be, you know?
Yeah.
But I do believe in...
But also remember, Jesus was hanging out with the sinners. That's who he was with. He did not like the Pharisees. He did not like them. He scolded them. He liked the sinners.
Wasn't that the first time that he like actually got angry and flipped a table was when they were trying to get
the
tithing?
Pharisees? Yeah, and they're like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Was it tithing, or was it like, it was all the things? It was like a certain amount of steps every day. It was like all of these judgments, and they were making up rules, which is what the freaking Mormon church keeps doing.
Yeah.
They just keep making up more and more rules. And I'm like, oh my God.
Like, have you even read the Bible?
Yeah. It was like that. And Jesus was just like, no.
Yeah. And I love the idea of Jesus, and I love the turn the other cheek. He who has not sinned, cast the first stone. I love all of that. I'm just in a place where I can't say that I know for sure there's something, but I also can't say I know there's for sure nothing. I feel like you have to have the same level of faith to be on either one. And I'm in a place of like, I'm okay with not knowing. I lean more towards, I feel like there is something after this life. But yeah, the whole heaven and hell thing to me feels like man-made just to control people. And it's not as, I think that we as humans we try to simplify things and make them black and white. And if there is a life outside of this, it's way more vast. It's not as black and white as our puny human brains can think about, you know? But we want to make sense of things. So we come up with the Mormon church where it's like, and then we're going to have sex up there, and then we're going to have our own kingdoms that we're in our own worlds, and then we're going to, you know, because that's your human brain thinking that with the human parts that you're not going to have when you're a spirit. If any of this is real.
Well, do you really think that women came up with that it's like, okay, we're all going to go into the celestial kingdom, and then we're going to have more wives. So we're going to like...
Yeah, that was definitely not and
we're
woman-made.
We're going to do polygamy now in heaven. So we're going to do more of it.
Right. So, it's like, great. So when do I get to heaven? Or, that's heaven. Okay, cool.
So do you still feel like you're a good person? Like, do you feel like you're happy with who you are? Like, do you feel like just because you don't go to church, or just because you don't follow that path, like, do you still feel like...
I struggled with that.
Yeah.
I struggled with not going to church on Sundays, and I shamed myself for it. I remember when I was married, I was like, we have to find a church. Like, I don't care if it's Mormon. I almost joined the Mormon church because 17 years of every single Sunday you're going to church. Doesn't matter if you're sick. Doesn't matter if you don't feel good that day. Doesn't matter if you don't believe. Go.
Yeah.
And so when I all of a sudden had Sundays where I wasn't doing anything, I was shaming myself. I was like, we should be going to church. And so I even had Jehovah's Witnesses come over. I had this really wild, like, what do I do with my... It almost felt like I took the leash from the order, and I was like, somebody take the leash. Somebody please tell me what to do. Because I didn't, like you had a life before Mormon. I never did. So I was always on this leash. So then to come out and be like, no one's holding the leash, I'm uncomfortable, you know?
Yeah.
So that took a while. And now I'm finally at a place of like, I think I'm at peace not knowing. I would like to know, but I don't know that I have the full control of knowing that while I'm still human and existing in this realm. But as far as the good person thing goes, I think that I do believe in obviously like good and bad, but I also think that everyone's definition of that is different. And so it's so hard to be like, well, my morals are here, and just because your morals are over there, that doesn't mean that my morals need to be different than, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so, yeah, I could go on and on and on about it.
No, I get what you mean. Like, I feel like, and that's part of the freedom. Like, you should have that freedom to be able to believe whatever you want if you're not hurting anybody. Like, we should all be able to believe whatever we want.
And it's more simple.
Yeah.
It's way more simple than all these rules that everyone's having, in my opinion. Do unto others how you want to be done, okay?
Yeah.
Treat others how you want to be treated. It's not that hard to just have empathy for someone else and you know, consenting adults. Like, it's I don't know why these people get so wild with these religions and so power hungry. I think that's it just has to be what it is just narcissism.
And you're not,
back to narcissism.
You don't seem to me like you're speaking out because of any sort of hate or anything like that.
I think it was in the beginning.
Really?
To be honest, I was like, fuck you guys. Like, I was so mad. Like, so when Escaping Polygamy started, all of the girls that were on it were hesitant. They're like, well, I want someone to speak out about it, but I don't want it to be me. Because they were all kind of living their lives and they were kind of like, oh, I don't want to ruffle feathers. Me, though, I was like, I will do this for free. I will burn that place to the ground. I was so mad, especially after being attacked, after everybody going against me and promoting this guy who, by the way, like, has a kid with his sister. Like, I don't understand.
You were the victim and they were making.
I was a minor too, and I was out to be this evil person. So yeah, in the beginning, it was 100% anger fueled, 100%. And then now I've transitioned to, I think, a place of like, I obviously, like, I wanted to expose them and I wanted people to know that they weren't alone, but definitely my anger was way more aggressive than that. Now I'm more of a place of like, I love knowing that I can be that person for someone. Because I also had someone like that. Like, when on Escaping Polygamy, Jessica was I talk about her all the time. She was the biggest and is my biggest role model for someone who gave me hope that I was going to be okay. And to be able to be that for someone is it's a gift. And the fact that she was able to do that for me, if I could do that for someone else, to be able to be that light for them it's fulfilling for me.
Yeah, I agree. Because it's not just a polygamist religion. It's not just the Mormon religion. There are a lot of high control religions that people do feel as though they're stuck in.
Right.
And they feel like they are all alone. And so it is like, and I get so much shame thrown at me because it's like, well, you know, like, you can't just leave the religion alone. You can't just, and I'm like, no,
I've had the same thing said.
That's not what it is. Like, that's not what it is. It's that I wish I had somebody that I could have listened to when I was questioning, when I was having doubt. Mm-hmm. So I had somebody that I could connect with and be like, okay, I'm not crazy taking the crazy pills, you know, like, because we do have that sense of being like, we are freaking crazy. Like, why can't I just stay in line
and do what everyone seems to be doing it so well? Why
it seems like it would be so much easier. I remember the bishop even telling me that, like, can't you just you know, do what you want, but just make sure, basically, like, don't put it on social media. And he was the reason why I went and blocked everybody. Yeah. And I remember him being like, and my brother-in-law that passed away, he said the same thing, where he was like, just go through the motions and just don't say anything. Like, do what you want behind the curtain. I can't do that. I can't just fall in line. I can't pretend to be this other thing, knowing that I have these other beliefs. Mm-hmm. I just can't do it. It's not
genuine.
It's not genuine. It's not true to who I am. And I just don't, I am not that strongly convicted in it. That's really what it comes down to. I'm not. But at the end of the day, too, is that we're taught for so long to speak about these things when we are Mormon. We're supposed to share it with everyone, right? Because we're supposed to be, you know, sharing the word of God. Yeah, and now all of a sudden they want us to be quiet about it. It doesn't work that way. Sorry, you created this beast. Right. Like, you created it.
Now you can handle it. Yeah. Anyone telling you to do something in silence or to be quiet about something, they're shady. That's shady.
Exactly. Like, there's a problem there. You need to go ahead and take those goggles off and take a look at yourself. Right. But do you have anything else that you want to talk about or plug or anything?
I think that did get me on the topic of, my dad would say, and my mom, like, why do you got to air our dirty laundry all over the internet? It's like, well, if you would wash your laundry,
Yes, exactly.
then it wouldn't be a problem. Or it's like that when you were saying, why were you guys talking bad? I'm telling the truth. You guys it just looks bad.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Nothing that I am saying is a lie. Nothing is incorrect. These are all true stories. These all happen to people. The only problem here is the fact that you don't want me to
don't want to hear it.
speak the truth. Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you want to share?
I think that's it. Holding out hope link. And then, if you want to follow my YouTube.
What's the name of it?
Amanda Ray.
And it's
like and subscribe.
RAE, right?
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. RAE. Because you don't really have a last name.
No,
your
I don't
last
have
name
it out there.
was kind of, and it was kind of made up, right?
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, no.
It's a fake last name.
Yeah.
Amanda Ray Grant is my birth name on my birth certificate because I also have a father named Kyle Grant on my birth certificate who doesn't exist because my mom is the second wife. So plural wives in the order, that's the custom. So that's kind of why I dropped it off. I was like Amanda Ray, also because I got married and like I didn't like that I had to change my last name. So it's just, that's it, Amanda Ray. So RAE.
I love
YouTube.
it. I love it. I think it's great. It does make you hard to find and hard to Google.
Really?
Yes, because I when I connected with you and then I started like researching, and it is hard to find because it also comes up as Amanda Ray Kingston.
Okay.
That also comes up.
Yeah. Okay. Then maybe try Amanda Ray Grant. I don't know.
Yeah.
I should Google myself and find it.
Yes, but either way, I'll make sure I put all the links in the notes too of everything that you give me. And so if you need to find Amanda, you know where to find her. But thanks for sitting down with me.
Thanks
It's so
for having
nice
me.
to meet you.
You
I'm
as well.
so excited. I have been a huge fan of you.
Same with you.
Like,
I'm glad it's mutual.
I follow all of your stuff every time you put out a new reel. I am a little sad you don't have your fingernails because those I feel like are your signature because you talk with them.
I know. I'm giving them a little break.
Yeah, I know. I think it's funny, but yeah, exactly. Well, thanks again for sitting down with me.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Till next time, Blamers.